Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. How was your weekend? Happy Monday. Welcome to Twisted Tragedies, where we follow all the twists and turns. I am your host, Elise, and today is the last day of jury selection. Hopefully, supposedly, we don't know if they'll push it back a day or what they'll do. I am being told that outside of the courthouse at the moment, there's only about 15 or so Karen reads of orders. She enters the courthouse pretty much alone with her lawyers. No giant mob out there. Um, maybe it was that OJ comment, or maybe it was the ID documentary, or maybe it was the countless amount of lies. I don't know. What do y'all think? like, everybody's got to get ready, right? Because we have a long 6 to 8 weeks coming up real soon. We have trial starting, hopefully, fingers crossed. We have the opening statements on Tuesday, tomorrow. So Wednesday, if it gets pushed back, let's hope it doesn't. But if it does get pushed back, I assume it'll be Wednesday. As of right now, all I know is that it's still supposed to be set for tomorrow. So let's just hope that they can find a couple more jurors and be satisfied, so they move on to the opening statements. Because I'm ready. How about you guys? Are you ready? Like, I think everybody's ready for this to be starting, and then over at that point. I wore a special shirt for today. Today's shirt is sponsored by me, of course. And you guys want to guess what it says? It's got to say something sarcastic because I'm a sarcastic asshole. So this one says, I suffer from that disorder where I speak the truth and others get offended. They don't like it. They don't like it. He doesn't like it. So that's today's shirt, y'all. Others get offended. Yep. See? So I thought it was an appropriate shirt for today. I also have one that says I'm a special kind of twisted, but I'll save that one for a different day. But I thought it would be an appropriate wear for today. Just saying. Just saying. Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I think they are, Jen. Thank you, Christina. Thank you. You know, it's funny because now that I have a camera that's like HD that you guys can see. Hold on, let me fix these bubbles. I really hate that StreamYard doesn't just let me set the bubbles the way I want them. They go back to classic and it like covers everything, which is quite annoying. But now that I have a camera that is HD, you guys can kind of see better, like my eyeshadow and stuff. And I get so many comments on my makeup, like literally from full grown men that are like, wow, your makeup looks good. Like, and my husband can attest to this. He's been there when this has happened. And I'm like, gee, thanks. People ask me all the time, can you do mine? Have you ever been a makeup artist? No, but I learned over long periods of time little tactics and stuff. So it's a webcam, but it's HD. So that's why you guys can see me in better focus and pretty much see every piece of my face. You guys get to see the rosacea that I have from the psoriasis, which makes my face red in spots. It's kind of splotchy, but I do think that people are starting to open their eyes. But I find it funny because I get so many comments on my eyeshadow, on my makeup, and the cult loves to make fun of when I wear blue eyeshadow. So I wear it just for them. Just for them. Half of them wouldn't know how to apply eyeshadow properly if you paid them to do so. So, you know, just all for you, culties. All for you. All for you. You know, yes, we have HD now. So now y'all can see me in extra HD, which is good. I am going to figure out this whole, I don't know if you guys can see it. I can see it. The camera tracks me. So if I move, it goes in and out. I don't know if you guys can see that on your end, but I can see it on my end and it drives me nuts a little. I have to figure out some, you know, I got to tinker with it a little. But now we have these lights. We have better lighting. You guys can see me better, right? And I can change the lighting. They have little buttons and it's very nice. And I don't know if the person wants to be named, but one of our viewers here got me the chair cushion that I had on my wish list, and I will be forever grateful because it's supposed to come tomorrow. So I am super excited. That way my hips and my butt and my legs don't have to pay for the long days sitting in this freaking chairs. So I am forever grateful for her getting me the pad that comes tomorrow. Also, the green screen comes tomorrow. Forget it, green screen. Although I know that this background isn't like the greatest because I have 2 windows, in this room, but like my signs, I know I have to like flip the camera for you guys to see them, but like I should probably do that now. I don't like the other side of my face. For some reason, like I have this thing with like it looks better like this. I don't know why. Like it just does in my opinion. Like but I know I should unmirror. Boop. There it is. Unmirror the camera so you guys can actually see the stupid signs and that you can read them. Sure, of course, Jess. It probably does just look like blush. I don't wear blush, but it's rosacea. I have psoriasis literally everywhere. Scalp, eyebrows, it's like everywhere. My leg. I actually never had psoriasis before COVID, and now I have all this inflammation in my body, like myocarditis, which is like inflammation of the heart. So I have all this inflammation now. Thank you, COVID. Appreciate it. But thank you, Jess. I appreciate it, my friend. I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate the compliments. I gotta do something about this hair though. These grays got to go, my friends. I am only 38 and I'm looking like I'm 45. Like, they gotta go. Like, but yes, I can definitely do that. It must be just my webcam that I can see it then. I just want to make sure that you guys aren't like it's not like going closer and farther away for you guys because I don't know that's kind of distracting. You know what I mean? Like I can deal with it on my end. I'm doing like 5 things at once anyway. But on your end, I don't want it to be. And real quick before I answer this question from Jess, I did talk to Kevin last night about the May event. And he's going to let me know all the details. So that's good. We'll all figure that out together. So anybody who's thinking about going, ooh, I know, Barb, I saw your comment like literally right as I was hitting the button. Tell us, Barb, because I'm going to keep your comment up, Jesse, because I don't want to forget to answer it. But I did too, girl. Christina, listen, I got my first gray when I was like 23 and I was like, what is this? Thanks, Mom. Appreciate the jeans. But yeah, me too. I started getting grays in my 20s. No idea why, but of course it just goes by your genes, of course. But tell us, Barb, what did he snitch on? I mean, he always snitches on himself. He always steps in it. You know what I mean? Like that's not a shocker to anybody that he does that. So, but what did he say? Like, I don't watch him. Let's just make that abundantly clear. I'm sorry, I'm gonna fix my eyelashes. I don't watch him. I refuse to watch him because all he does is lie. So why would I want to watch somebody that constantly lies? It just doesn't really make sense to me. And so I do not, for purposes of my sanity, watch him. So he snitches on himself. He always does. That's not anything new. The man always snitches on himself. He can't help it. Girl, yeah, I'll be 39 in November, so I'm right there with you. Like, it's so expensive. I had a hairdresser that was doing it for like $60 every like month. And then she closed down shop. It was a really small shop and they weren't getting a ton of business where they were. And they moved somewhere I can't get to because I don't have a car. So now I'm back at square one. And I desperately need something. I got to do something with this. And my hair is starting to thin. So like, I don't want to dye it a ton because then I'd be losing more than I already am getting. Oh, yeah. Barb says he was trashing Boozy Beauty last night. She's an idiot. She's this, she's that. He then says that is why the defense will not hire her. What a fucking idiot. I can't. I'm going to have to do that, Christina. That sounds like a good idea. It's got to stay in long. I can't use the ones that only stay in for like 3 weeks though, because I'd have to like re-dye it. You know what I mean? And I just do my regular color, black. I just do like, the roots. Like the rest of it isn't gray. So I just do, the parts that have grown out. And I just remember my regular hair color. I don't, do different colors. My hair color is black. So that's just what I go with. Yeah, mine grows really fast, like really fast. My nails and my hair grow really fast. People are like, why don't you just get a gel wrap? Like, I haven't had my nails done in at least a year. Like, I think a full set of acrylics is like $60 or something. I just can't swing it, but I would freaking love to get my nails done. Just a basic French, tips. Acrylic. Some gray in my 30s. My hair is blonde, so I didn't notice it until my eyebrows started turning gray. I haven't had that happen yet. My eyebrows have not started turning gray yet. Oh, she blocked you? Use only professional color. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I need something for stubborn grays because mine's stubborn too. Like stubborn. Like, listen, that's okay. You're allowed to have a man bun. All right. Like, do you have a mun? We're gonna call it a mun. Freak has a mun. Well, that's it. It all starts underneath, guys. That's where it starts, and we're not spring chickens anymore, but I'll tell you, with my hair dyed, I at least look 5 years younger. Like at least 5, if not more. Like back when people used to guess how old I was, I would at least get like 5 years younger. Now they're like right on the money and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's a problem." That's a problem. I'm 30. I mean, I'm pretty good in the department of not getting a ton of wrinkles yet though. Like I'll thank my genes for that. Girl, I am Tinselhead right now. I kid you not. I've thought about doing the whole like black and then turning the bottom gray. So it's like like dyeing it. So it doesn't look like I'm just old gray, but like stylish, like that thing where people do like the black and then they just dye like the back bottom part all. So it like goes in between. I've thought about that too, but then I'm like, it's not really a look on me. I don't really like it. So, but yes, I will tell you about a normal day in court because I did not forget, Jesse. Yeah, my hair grows out that fast too, girl. Like that fast. Like, yeah, you can't dye it every 10 days because it would kill your hair. You know what I mean? And that's another thing. I don't want to, I don't want to bleach it again. That would kill hair. And I don't have that much left to kill. So we're not going to do that. So I just do the black. My hair is already black. So I'm just matching the rest of my head. But yeah, basic day in court looks like, they go into court and they start like, first they start with like introductions. The judge is like, introduce yourselves. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff. Thank you, Lou. I feel like I look terrible I already have gray, but it's like, no. Good morning, chicks. But so they do the whole good morning thing, and then the judge will go over any like stupid little things they might have that they need to talk about. Then they do any sort of like little sidebar ahead of time. They need to talk about anything before they start. And then she'll say, okay, well, today is we're doing opening statements. Who's going to go for the Commonwealth? Who's going to go for the defense? And then they start that. And then they'll do any sort of like, so if an issue arises during court, they will do a sidebar. Now, we're not going to hear the sidebars. Sometimes the reporters can hear it, and I get a little tidbit of inside information from someone, but that doesn't always happen. And sometimes we get it way after, the information way after. But sometimes we get a little bit of tidbit or a hot mic or something. But they do sidebars, and they get sort of, that's the other thing I have to do. Fuck. I need to get clips for the sidebars. Because last stream, obviously when we streamed the trial the first time, we had clips for when we did sidebars that we would play that were funny. It says like, I think we got a super chat, but that's because that was the way it was made. But it's the FKR people doing a dance, and that's what we would use for sidebars. When they would say sidebar, that's what we would play. I need a couple new ones for this trial. I feel like we need new ones. My hot cocoa came down my cup while I was bringing it in here. But so, then they'll do any sort of sidebars going throughout the day if something arises. When it comes to the witnesses, they'll call the witness to the stand, and then, it depends on who's obviously calling. Usually the Commonwealth usually starts. So if the Commonwealth calls a witness to the stand, they'll start with the questioning, then the cross-examination will happen. And then if the Commonwealth has follow-up questions after the cross-examination from the defense, then they will go again. And the same will happen when the defense starts their case and they start calling witnesses. So that's like the basic stuff of like how it will go. There'll be times when the judge sends the jury out to talk about things on the record. There'll be times where they might need to do a voir dire. And you might see this spelled V-O-I-R. Okay, voir. It's French. And so voir dires are, they send the jury out. Okay, so the jury doesn't get to hear any of this. And they're questions that either the defense and the Commonwealth or both have of a certain witness to question them on what they're going to say, what their whatever they're going to question them on. And we get to hear the voir dire. The jury does not, because the judge decides from that voir dire what that witness is allowed to talk about and what they're not allowed to talk about, what they're allowed to say and what they're not allowed to say that they already said in that voir dire. So sometimes we will be seeing that. I don't know how many, or I mean, last time it was a few. We saw a few. I'm not really sure if we will this time or how many, because it kind of cleared up a lot of issues, but we have new issues in this trial. New, you know what I mean? So yes, I will be. Yep. We're streaming here. So wait, he did? Please somebody tell me he didn't. During live last night around the 2-hour, 5-minute mark. Called the judge a secret. Of course he did. Of course he did. You know, I think we're all getting a little nervous because it's about to start, right? Like, that's normal. Totally normal to get a little nervous right before the trial is going to start. But I will tell you this. I have so much faith in Hank Brennan and his ability to hammer in the details to the jury to allow them to know, like, where the timeline starts and ends and where there's no room for giant, vast conspiracies. There's a reason why I had this sign made, because I believe in it. I believe that even when injustices happen, that karma course corrects that. The universe always corrects at some point, right? And I do believe that justice is coming. I 100% believe it is coming. I have to, I have to, because so many people have been hurt when it comes to this case. So many lives have been forever altered, changed, harmed, people's incomes, people's livelihoods, all because someone named the sewer turtle wants to trash their names. It absolutely baffles me how Video Jesus at this moment is still out there on Twitter, sort of throwing out digs at people based on Aiden's lies and then bitching that he's lying about her. The fact you haven't figured it out yet, Video Jesus, is amazing to me. She's out there throwing insults like, well, I'm not just one of the food stamp 5 to be talked about like that. Like, first of all, the fact that you think it's okay to call people the food stamp 5 and sort of try to dehumanize anybody who does need that help is disgusting in and itself. Okay. But the fact that you just take his word for everything, half the people you call the food stamp 5 don't even get food stamps. So let's just make that abundantly clear. Okay. I don't get food stamps. I wish I did. I need that help desperately. Okay. So I find it funny that as she parrots the exact same BS that she is bitching that he's doing to her, she's doing to other people at this very moment, based on things that he has said and that his cult has said that they've just repeated. I find it funny. She made a post yesterday and then deleted it, talking about how she's just going to basically air out her own dirty laundry because, he's probably going to do a blog on her. So she's just going to get ahead of it and say that, oh, she had this thing with her landlord. But don't compare her to me because she got screwed over. And she didn't live in a migrant hotel. FYI, I'm not a migrant. If you didn't notice, I didn't live in a migrant hotel. You idiot. Number one. Once again, that's what you get for like repeating things that you were told. I lived in the shelter system for Massachusetts, which has a good chunk of migrants in it. Yes. But it's for mass residents, in which there was many. Number one. Number two, I have a letter from the health department, from the health inspector himself, about my slumlord, literally saying my apartment was not even ready since before I moved into it, and that he was there on a weekly basis on that property, and that the man is a massive slumlord. I literally have a letter from the health department. So if you're going to claim that you were screwed over by your landlord, All we have is your word. I at least have evidence. So once again, maybe, just maybe, okay, if you don't want to deal with him lying about you and putting all this shit out there and then those people repeating it and attacking you as a mob, maybe stop and think about the ones that you're repeating about other people. You ever think of that maybe for a second? You ever stop to think that the things that you're repeating that you heard from that mob and him are lies about other people as you're complaining that he's doing it to you? This is what he does. Just know that. You don't have to do anything to be attacked by him. You know what I did to be attacked? I knew about his extracurricular activities. That's what I did. I was public enemy number one because I didn't lie for him. That's why I'm such a, quote, bad person, because I didn't lie for him and because he got caught. You don't have to do anything. Sometimes he just flips on people and starts acting like a crazy lunatic because he's jealous. Or his ego gets inflated and he thinks you're getting more attention than him. Or your intelligence scares him. Any one of those things. And also, being a woman puts like a 75% target on your back when it comes to him because he's such a pussy. That's what he mostly goes after. But if you can't look in the mirror and think to yourself, holy shit, he's doing to me what he has done to many other people, and maybe I shouldn't be repeating things that he said because they could be lies about other people as they're doing to me right this moment, then I don't know like where your brain is, honestly. He's doing it to you at this moment, and you think what? That didn't happen to many before you and won't happen to many after you. And the same goes for Boozy Beauty. Like, I actually felt bad for them because even though I don't agree with anything they say when it comes to this case, nobody deserves to be attacked and lied about just for existing. Like, just because he doesn't like something about them or he's jealous or he's upset. Somebody stands up to him. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like when people actually tell him to go fuck himself, you know? But for me, like, time to wake the fuck up, dude. Time to wake the fuck up. You're sitting there dehumanizing other human beings and bitching and whining people are being mean to you. Could you get any more hypocritical? If you don't want people repeating lies about you, maybe don't repeat lies about other people. It's called insta karma, honey. Like, insta karma. Like, right? Let's just get them anyway, right? Like, for you to sit there and think it's cute to dehumanize people who are of a lower income that need food stamps, like, that's just disgusting. That's just like, just because he does it, and it's a dog whistle for other people to do it, doesn't mean it's cute, bro. The rest of society is looking at you like, what the f is wrong with you? Dehumanizing other people based on their income? Their income, by the way, that was affected by lies from the sewer turtle. Interesting. I find the critical thinking over there quite fucking interesting. Um, well, it depends, Christina. He's not allowed to go attack directly or indirectly, harass, intimidate certain people. Yet he does. Yeah, I don't know who, I mean, unless somebody gave her that nickname, I definitely wouldn't be calling myself anything Jesus. Okay. Like, it's one thing to have a nickname. It's another, like, for you to name yourself. Nicknames are usually given by other people. Like, you know, like when everybody stopped calling me by my actual first name and started calling me Elise, like, that was other people. I didn't do it myself. You know what I mean? So it's weird. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't be naming myself a nickname. Someone else does that. Well, it was. It was a chaotic relationship. I know that much, that it was, and he lacked respect for everybody, not just her, but everyone. Like, exactly. How does he make his living? So I love when he goes after people and says, they're making money off this case. They're riding my coattails. His famous, like, first 3 lines to attack people are, they're scammers, they're mentally unwell, or they're riding his coattails, or they just want attention. All the things that he does on a daily basis, literally. Like, He wants to blame everybody else for. It's his own insecurity sort of eating away at him so that he has to blame everyone else for what he constantly does. Like, he is the only one screaming for attention, dude. Come on. Well, it's what he does, but here's the kicker is for him, it's not even like he has a multitude of like medical issues like Ashley does or I do. He doesn't have a sick kid. He doesn't have like he literally just doesn't want to do really anything but harass people. It's amazing to me. Like, I mean, technically I'm Spanish, but I don't have Jesus in my name, so yeah, I wish. But also I feel like the Commonwealth is waiting. They're just waiting, you know? Oh, is he outside with his other 14 friends? The total of 15? Like Karen, Lizzie Borden Reed. I love you, Barb. I love you. Oh, I can't. I can't. You know what? Peggy O'Keefe is a fucking rock star. Clip that. Okay. Peggy O'Keefe is one of the strongest people in this whole fucking thing, along with Paul. I don't know how they do it. They have the patience of saints. Okay. Because I don't even have the kind of patience that they have. I'll tell you that right now. I do not have that kind of fucking patience. But they have the patience of saints. So Peggy, Paul, Chris, family, friends, all of you who watch, we have your back. Justice is coming, and let these vile pieces of shit burn out, because that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to burn and fade out and then be buried in legal suits until their children's children have children, you know? Absolutely. It's literally deplorable. Like, oh, he first of all, for him to call anybody else an old hag is fucking rich, if you ask me. It is absolutely rich. The man is a fucking garden gnome. Like, is that real life? Like, is that real life? Like, you should call yourself that. Not until after Karen's, unfortunately. Not until after. Damn it. Yeah, I'm hearing they might push it back to Wednesday. We haven't been able to confirm this yet, but this is the whispers that we are hearing at the moment. Let me hold on. Let me try and pull up today's thing. Today's court hearing. Boop. All right. I'm looking at a clock here. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Yeah, and I was totally ready for it to start Tuesday. You know what, though? It gives an extra day for me to get my cushion and the green screen. So, I mean, probably won't use their green screen right away, though. Like, I do totally like my signs. I don't know. You guys can vote on it. You guys can tell me. What do you think? A green screen with other backgrounds, or what I already got going on? You tell me. What do you think would work best here? Sorry, let me get this. This chat's gonna load. I don't know why my computer's being so slow today. I will say I have a older laptop. It's probably, I think I got it in 2020, right before COVID happened, unfortunately. So I think I'm going to jack this volume up and put that up to full screen. But currently we're looking at the clock. It usually starts at 9:30 for jury selection, and it's 9:31. So I don't know, but today could be a day that you always want to watch the beginning, because it's a very real possibility that they go over some of the outstanding motions like as we get closer to the trial. Yeah, I'm with you, Kim. I literally cannot do it. Like, my brain does not allow me to do it. I kid you not. Like, right? Like a garden gnome. Just put a red hat on him and stick him in the yard, like where he belongs. I mean, he's already the size of a fairy house, so he'd fit right in, you know? I looked at John's thing, but I get you guys have to remember I am friends with some of the witnesses and family, so I try to ask them first to see if they know if it's going to be pushed back or not. And I'm just getting sort of whispers of maybe Wednesday, but nothing confirmed yet. So right. It's I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm gonna put on it. But I'd have to move my desk forward, the lights and stuff. I would have to move. I can move it forward, but I have to move forward so I could put the green screen behind me. But I also like my signs. These were made for me. I really want like a neon sign, kind of like what Kevin has, but a little bit different. A, I want mine pink because, well, you know, it's my favorite color. And B, I'd have to figure out how so that it wouldn't be like so bright that you guys wouldn't be able to see it. I don't know how I wouldn't know how to do that to make it like not so bright so you guys wouldn't be able to see it. But I would love to have one that says Twisted Tragedies. That would be freaking awesome. Like I can make myself like a cup or a shirt with my Cricut. And I intend, by the way, on making like Convict Karen shirts with my Cricut. Like I can probably make a bunch of them if there's interest, but I'd have to make them on a weekend. So it wouldn't be right this very second because that takes a lot of time. I don't know how I don't know how you guys do it. You guys are brave. I can't do it. I cannot. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, my friend. There is quite a bit, and I wish that, like, some of the things that I know I could just tell everybody all the time. Unfortunately, I cannot. But I will tell you there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, like, just so much. And that's why when I give my analysis and my prediction, I base it on all of the things that I know, not just all of the things you guys know, but all of the things that I personally know. And, I can tell you there's always things going on behind the scenes, always, you know? It's a very real possibility that the Commonwealth smokes them both. Like, Brennan is a very thorough man. Let's just throw that out there, okay? He pays attention to detail better than any other lawyer I've ever seen. And if you go and you talk to any of the lawyers that ever worked with him or partnered with him in any way, the things that they say the most are that he very much never misses a beat, that he pays attention to detail, and that he works long, extensive hours to make sure he's got everything right. He's fascinating. I do want to pick his brain. When this trial is over, I want to pick his brain. I know people that like know him or knew him, and I want to see if maybe after the trial they can reach out and see if he'll do an interview. That would be great, don't you guys think? Also, for all of you who weren't here, I did talk to Kevin last night. I sent him a message about the May meetup, and he's going to give me all the details. So thank you, Kevin, for that. We wish him luck in his chemo, and hopefully it'll be done by then. Good morning, Shamina. I know, right? Go clock, go. It's better than we haven't named the clock. We named the fan, you know. Oh, you want one that says I could do those. I'm a McAlbert. I want to make mine that says I'm all the McAlberts. But I could totally make some that say I'm a McAlbert. We should do that. That would be fun. Like, yes, the like button would be very helpful. Also, I didn't do my like morning spiel because, well, as you guys can see, I'm still drinking my coffee out of my cool mom mug that my daughter got me for Christmas. So, if you haven't, please do hit the like button and the subscribe button and change your little bell notification to all because it's immediately set for like some or most. So make sure you click on the little bell and change it to all so that way you get notified when I'm live every time, not just sometimes. And if you can, there's a ticker at the bottom of the screen that ticks by at the very bottom. You see this, the numbers and letters moving. That is the way that you can donate to the channel. I don't have super chats and super stickers and memberships right now because FKR sort of decided they were going to attack my very tiny channel, and it was frozen. And then I had to wait. You have to wait 6 months to reapply. So then I reapplied. Now we're waiting on that. Thank you, YouTube, for being slower than molasses. But in the meantime, I do have Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. And that is the only way we cover costs and survive over here on this channel, because I don't have any of the other options. So that's how I make this choo-choo train keep on choo-chooing down the track. If I was a rich person, I would just pay for it all myself. Unfortunately, I am not a rich person. So if I was, it would be like Oprah. I'd just be picking people's name out of the chat. Like, you get a car and you get a house and you get $10,000 so that you can start your life and not worry about paying your electric or gas bill. And especially those of you that live in Massachusetts, we all need to do something about these gas bills, because that $50 like rebate thing we were supposed to be getting on our bills ain't doing shit. For my 2-bedroom apartment, my gas bill is $400 a month. That's insane. I don't even like push my heat past 68, except very rare occurrences. And I've basically been turning it off on days that are like, or turning at least down to 60 or 55 on days that are more than 60. So, you know, they're both buried in lawsuits no matter what. Just remember that. No matter what. Like, right? Let's get the last bit of the jury seated and let's start this shit Tuesday instead of Wednesday, because I keep hearing this whisper of her pushing it to Wednesday. Please, for the love of God, do not push it to Wednesday. We want to start those. I want them tomorrow. I want the statements to start tomorrow. Yeah, they're done. Completely done. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Jen. The thing is, I'll never forget your name because that's my mom's name. See, that is the one thing that I at least pride myself on, is I'm not just book smart, I'm also street smart, because I grew up really actually strangely between 2 classes. The lower poor class with my mother, and the upper middle class with my grandparents. And I lived with them both. And my grandparents were upper middle class. They owned 2 homes. My grandmother was a nurse. My grandfather was a diesel mechanic. So I grew up in the shop with my grandpa, him teaching me how to fix things. And then my dad was also a mechanic. So hence why I know so much about cars. We can all thank them. Thank you. I appreciate it, grandpa and dad. Like, I know, and I know they're up there super proud of all the information that I retained of all those years of them telling me how to fix things. But I sort of grew up in between 2 classes, in the projects with my mom and upper middle class with my grandparents. And for a couple of years, I lived with my grandparents, and, you know, me and my mom didn't always get along. So I grew up in 2 very different worlds. And I definitely pride myself on not only being book smart, but also street smart, and also having some freaking common sense, which a lot of people don't have. Like, but he is fascinating, isn't he? I just want to pick his brain so badly. I have so many questions I want to ask him. Like, I love the way he hammers those points. Right? Oh my God, that is such a good idea, Christina. That is a brilliant idea. That would be so much fun. Yes, and good morning to everybody who has recently joined. All y'all watching from the bushes. Good morning, my bush watchers. Like, all y'all. And you didn't get a notification this morning? I did it more than a half an hour ahead of time, just so like it wouldn't do that. God damn it. I think they said they wanted at least 18. But I don't know. Like, I feel like they should have went for 20. They shouldn't have stopped until they got to 20, but maybe they only get 1 today. You never know. They wanted to say 18. Yeah, but they do, right? Like, they do. They did. Like, they did. There were a lot of people whose incomes were restricted or burned to the fucking ground because of this. Mine being one of them. They just don't care who they affect. They just don't. Yeah, 2 more was what they wanted. They want 18, but I feel like, yeah, 20 would be at least the dead minimum in my opinion. Like, oh my God. That I am like, don't even know what to say to that. I wish. That's like my electric bill. Is a little over that. And I don't use the lights unless it's dark out. You know what I mean? Other than like this right here with you guys, like, I don't keep the lights on in my house. Like, everything gets shut off if you're not using it, you know? Like, but Massachusetts, like, our bills are so high right now because they allowed the gas companies to go up like more than 50% this year without stopping them. And there was no need for it. So basically your delivery, the delivery of your gas, the delivery that they don't do, the delivery that it does itself, they charge you more in delivery fees than what you're actually even using in gas. And I think that should just be a crime in itself. That should be illegal. Oh, camera's moving. And it should never be that you're delivering gas and usage. They're both saying Wednesday. Maybe it's possible. I'm hearing Wednesday as well, but I'm not really sure. It hasn't officially been changed. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. That's a very real possibility too, Brittany, is that they could have dismissed or lost any from research they did over the weekend. Sheldon Cooper. I love it. You can always learn from anyone, someone, anyone. You got a notification? You got a notification? Good. I'm glad some people got it. Good morning, Eva, my friend. I actually have not eaten breakfast, but please enjoy your lunch. I don't usually eat breakfast. I don't usually have time. Lunch, sometimes most of the time I skip. It's just usually dinner and maybe a snack, but I'm going to attempt to do lunch during trial because I'm always starving and this is going to be longer days. I'm not just going to be doing a 3 or 4 hour show. This is going to be 9 to 4, That was a pretty good moment, Brittany. Oh, good morning, Nair, my friend. Welcome back. You know what? It's going to be 66 here today. I'm pretty excited about it. When I put my daughter on the bus this morning, I was like, wow, it's already beautiful outside. Came back in and I went to go look and it said it was only like 43 degrees. And I'm like, there's no way. It just felt like it was at least 50 outside. It's beautiful. That's why I'm wearing a t-shirt in my house because and I have windows open. It's beautiful outside here today. Beautiful. And I've been to Vermont. Oh my God. I did remember I was telling you guys, I did the Oktoberfest up in Vermont at oh God, what was the name of the mountain? Maybe Nair. But we stayed in a condo on that mountain and there was only like one restaurant there. It was like a big old timey like bar that was like a pub. It was the only thing that was open later after we were done with working on that Oktoberfest. But we took the ski lift up to the top of the mountain, me and my husband, and it was beautiful. Yeah, I'm still working on my hot coffee here, my Mary Lou's hot coffee, because I have the K cups. Oh, that reminds me. I don't know if the person wants me to say their name because it didn't say on it because it was an email, but yesterday I got a $50 e-gift card to Dunkin' Donuts from an anonymous person. Unless they want to be named, they can tell me, I guess. They can send me a message. I just don't want to name them without them knowing, but to Dunkin' Donuts. I appreciate you because I love their breakfast sandwiches and maybe I can have them delivered because I don't have a car, but maybe I can have them delivered. That's why like DoorDash and Instacart is always like good when you do gift cards, especially for people without cars, guys. Remember that. If you ever have a relative or a friend that has no car, DoorDash, Instacart, things like that are super helpful because getting it delivered is kind of your only way of getting it unless you're going to walk miles and miles, But thank you very, very much for that gift card. I will use it during the trial for breakfast sandwiches, some donuts for the kids. Thank you. I very much appreciate it. That was a really nice surprise. I did put the wish list up finally. It's got a couple odds and ends for like Easter for my little and some murder mystery games in the end of the list because my oldest, my one that's ill, my sick one who just had surgeries on her arms, her and me love those murder mystery games and we like to play them together, even if we do it like virtually and she's on the video chat. But we like to play them together. They're fun. But I put a few things on there for Easter for my little. I still have to do Easter shopping. I don't know how I'm going to do all this. The gas bill is a killer, dude. I don't even want to know what you guys' gas bills were for people who own houses in Massachusetts, because my $400 gas bill, like when I don't even use the gas, like I guarantee you guys' were just as, I think that's why we have such outrage. Remember you guys, the governor was supposed to fix it? Well, she didn't. She didn't. She gave us a whopping, what, $50 they say off, and my bill says nothing about that $50 coming off, so. I know. We were just saying that the clock is wrong. We were just saying that. We need at least 20, right, Jennifer? Up there's the judge. Good morning, William Eyelash. See, that's weird.
Those numbers for me.
Next time I'm with you, I'm gonna have to take your phone and like look at it and try to figure out why it's not showing up. Like button number 39. Thank you, Nair, my friend. Yeah, the clock is wrong. They should fix it, because I think they're going by, they probably do it on purpose, where they're like, well, our clock says it's not 9:30 yet. Like, yeah, it's going to be 66. I turned my heat off this morning too. Like, I don't know. Sunny's always welcome to join us. She knows she is. Sometimes she'll send me a text message and say, send me a link, and I absolutely will every single time. So if she tells me she's wanting to come in, or anybody else for that matter, most of my panelists know that if they want in, all they got to do is ask, and I will send them that link. We absolutely love Sunny. That's a very good point, Ashley. Clock is like the FKR followers. Only the crazy ones. Oh, there's Victoria George. Still trying to make fetch. Sugar Bush, Mad River. I don't know. It's like it starts with a K. It's Killer something mountain. Killer. I can't remember. Killer something. I know it sounds like terrible, but that's the name of the mountain. Killer something. Mount Snow. No, it's not Mount Snow. I don't. Yeah, I know. I don't know what it is with the delay. Ooh, Ben and Jerry's. I've never actually been to an actual Ben and Jerry's. Oh yeah, or Walmart delivery. That's always good, especially for clothes. My little one is growing out of all of her clothes like a weed. I'm gonna have to buy all new summer clothes. I just got her socks and underwear. Hey, Anonymous, I love Dunkin'. I actually love Mary Lou's. That is my go-to place for coffee. Mary Lou's News. If you're not from Massachusetts, that is where it's at. Yes. Hey, works for me. You can totally chauffeur me there. We can do breakfasts. Yeah, I bet it's not cheap. That's for sure. Probably because of the beauty. I'd pay for the beauty if I had it like that. You know what I mean? It is beauty. See that? Why is yours like around the same as mine? See, that's not okay. Missed time. That's a good one. We're going to have to think of a bunch of names for the clock and vote on them. Missed time is a good one. We got to name the clock. We named the Fanny. We got to name the clock.
Please.
Your Honor, this is 2282CR117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
I did not
Counsel identify themselves for the record.
see that she was spotted in New Orleans.
Good morning, Ms. McLaughlin. Good morning, Mr. Lally.
Was OJ framed, Karen?
Good morning, Mr. Brennan.
Freaking love her.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson. Good morning,
John
Mr.
DePetro, good job, my friend.
Good morning, Mr. Alessi. Good morning, Mr. Yannetti.
Nick braid her hair.
Good morning, Miss George.
Good morning, Miss
Reed.
George.
All right, Jim.
Regina George, it's not fetch, okay? No, she's not happy. Here, clip from it is ready. Killington, that's it. Killington.
All right.
That's it.
Good morning, jurors. My name is Beverly Canoni. I'm a judge of this court, and I want to welcome you here today and give you some idea on how we think your day looks. As you've heard, this is a matter of Commonwealth versus
We
Karen
knew.
Reed. It's a criminal case. First, I want to thank you for your patience here with us today, and thank you for our service. One of the most important duties we have as citizens of this country is jury duty, and we simply wouldn't be able to do this
I don't
without
know
you.
how
So
old
we
Elizabeth
do
Little is.
appreciate your patience here today. The Commonwealth alleges that at approximately 6 o'clock in the morning of January 29, 2022, the Canton Police Department received a 911 call reporting
Yes,
an
Killington,
unresponsive
you guys are
male
right.
party
That's it.
in the snow outside a residence at 34 Fairview Road in that town. Officers responded and discovered the man, later identified as John O'Keefe, off the roadway in the front lawn area. Officers identified 3 women with Mr. O'Keefe, one of whom was the defendant, Karen Reed, the girlfriend of Mr. O'Keefe. The defendant had been with Mr. O'Keefe the previous evening at 2 different bars in Canton and had driven with him to this residence in the early morning hours of this date. Mr. O'Keefe was treated by paramedics from the Canton Fire Department and transported to the Good Samaritan Medical Center, where he was later pronounced deceased. The Commonwealth alleges that the defendant struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle earlier that morning and then left the scene while Mr. O'Keefe lay injured in the snow during a blizzard. The defendant denies these allegations. She is presumed to be innocent and has pled not guilty. Ms. Reed is charged with second-degree murder.
Yeah,
She is also
volunteers.
charged with manslaughter while operating under the influence and with leaving the scene after causing personal injury or death. I will describe these crimes in greater detail at the end of the case when I teach you the law, but briefly, murder is the unlawful killing of a human being. There are various ways in which the Commonwealth can prove a murder case, and the Commonwealth is permitted to proceed under all theories that it believes it can prove. Here, the Commonwealth alleges that the defendant committed murder and that that murder was murder in the second degree. In order to prove the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree,
law clerks and
the
stuff.
Commonwealth must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed an unlawful killing and that it was done with malice. In comparison, involuntary manslaughter is an unintentional, unlawful killing caused by wanton or reckless conduct. These terms and the elements of the crimes will be explained to you in detail at the end of the case before you begin your deliberations. Now, at the outset, I would like to address the issue of public opinion and interest in this case and the duty of this court to adhere to the rule of law. John Adams said that we are a government of laws, not of men.
Yes, it's
and that
Killington.
the law must be deaf to the clamoring of the public. He meant that while public opinion about a given subject may ebb and flow, the law must be steady, reliable, and even-handed.
I like clocking
We know that on the subject of this
clock
case,
face? Can we
there
do
are people advocating for one
the
outcome
clock
or
face?
another with intensity, but without the benefit of having heard or seen any evidence at all in this trial. The law works in a different way, and the difference is crucial to our system of justice.
Oh my God, you guys kill me. I can't.
The jurors selected for this trial will hear and judge the evidence. They will decide what the facts are, and
Julie
where the
Grant
evidence is contested,
is a friend of the show.
they will determine where the truth lies.
We love her.
Ultimately, the jury will decide whether the Commonwealth has carried its burden of proving that the defendant is guilty of any crime beyond a reasonable doubt. People outside of this building have rights, and we know that they have voices, but this criminal trial will be decided by an independent jury, free from outside interference, based only upon the evidence presented in this courtroom and the law. This is the only way to ensure that every person who comes before the court receives a fair trial. It is just that simple and that important. So, while public comment will likely continue, the rule of law will be upheld. In order to determine your eligibility to serve on this case, I'm going to ask you questions all as a group.
It's all the way
I'm
up.
going to ask you to
Volume
fill
all
out
the way up.
a supplementary questionnaire. We have found that the use of this questionnaire is helpful for several reasons. First, there are some personal questions on it, and we ask that you be candid. In addition, the process of filling out the questionnaire provides the opportunity to be more reflective as you
Good one,
answer the
too.
questions, rather than being put on the spot and asked to give an immediate answer. After you fill out the
Got her.
questionnaires, we will have you come up to the sidebar one at a time so that we can follow up with you on your answers to the questionnaire and your answers to my questions.
Time for cuffs is
I wanna
right.
thank you in advance for
It's a
your
good one.
patience as we go through this process.
Patience is a good one.
As you may know, the lawyers for the parties participate in the selection of the
Right.
jury.
Klopp is
Under
Bev's
our
enemy.
law, each of the parties has the right to exercise what we call juror challenges. This means that each party has the right to challenge a certain number of prospective jurors for any reason or for no reason at all. Therefore, some of you will be excused during the impanelment procedure. Please do not take it personally. Don't think that somehow you're not a fair person. It's not a reflection on you at all. You will be directed back to the jury room and may be picked for another case. In a little while, I'll pose a number of questions to you as a group. You've taken an oath that requires you to truthfully answer these questions and all questions posed to you. I'm not asking you to take out your juror cards now.
We'll
I'll
watch
ask
it.
you to do
I'll
that
play
at
it
a
later.
later time. But if your answer to any question is yes, I will ask that you raise your hand and hold up your juror card
Be right back.
in the air with the numbers facing out so that the court officers can read out your number. The fact that you answer yes to any of my questions does not mean that you're automatically disqualified from juror service. It simply means that there are matters that the lawyers and I need to discuss with you. If you find a question posed to the group to be overly intrusive, you may elect to answer that question at sidebar as well. I will have additional questions for you which relate to issues that may be raised in the trial and are designed to give us information regarding whether or not you're able to serve as a fair and impartial juror in this case. The lawyers are allowed to ask you questions for the same reason. There is no right or wrong answer. This is not a test. We are simply looking for your best and honest answer to our questions. I'm now going to have the lawyers introduce themselves, please. And when defense counsel introduce yourself, please introduce your client. So let's start with the Commonwealth, please. Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hank Brennan. I represent the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I'd like you to meet my two colleagues.
Good morning, my name is Laura McLaughlin. I'm Assistant District Attorney in Norfolk County, representing the communities in Norfolk County. Thank you very much for being here this morning.
Good morning, my name is Adam Lally, Assistant District Attorney with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. I just want to thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alan Jackson. I have the honor and privilege of representing Ms. Karen Reed, who's standing to my right.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Elizabeth Little, and I also have the honor of representing Ms. Reed.
Good morning. My name is Robert Alessi. Thank you for being here and taking the time. I have the pleasure of representing Ms. Reed as well.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Yannetti. I'm an attorney.
Still takes him 20 minutes to friggin' say his name. Hey, Maestro.
Good morning, everyone. I am Victoria George, and I also have the privilege.
I am Victoria George, and I'm still trying to make things fetch. Why is she still introducing herself?
Hi. Thank you. Jurors, I'm going to read
Oh,
you a
God.
witness list. It's very long. It does not mean that all of these people whose
Ugh.
names I read to you will be called as witnesses, but you may
Let's
hear
see if
their
people are,
names
all the people
throughout
are
the
still on.
trial. So
That's the
please
next
listen
question.
carefully, because in a few minutes I'm going to ask you whether you know any of these folks.
Hopefully,
It is alphabetical.
it
but
won't
it's
be much
alphabetical by
longer,
first
Diana.
name.
YouTube needs to do their job,
Aiden
too.
Kearney from Jefferson, Mass.
You're on the witness list.
Dr. Isaac Wolf from South Miami, Florida. Alfredo Localato from Canton. Allison McCabe, Canton. Andre Porto, Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab. Andrew Klain, Bridgewater. Andrew Rentschler, PhD from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Angela Malvone, Annie Chung, both from Canton. Anthony Flammati from the Canton Fire Department.
Right, Amy?
Ashley Bell, Canton. Ashley Valier from the State Police Crime Lab. Brian Albert, Norwood. Brian Albert Jr., Boston. Brian Higgins,
Karen
Sandwich.
Arias.
Brian Laughran, Canton.
Freaking love you guys.
Brian Wanless, who is a
Wanless.
retired from the Canton Police
Police
Department.
Department.
Bridget Meehan, who is keeper of the records in Canton. Caitlin Albert, Easton. Lieutenant Charles Ray of the Canton Police Department. Chief Helena Rafferty, also of the Canton Police Department.
Yeah, they keep
Chris
doing it.
Van E., who is a PhD from Novi, Michigan. Christina
The
Hanley
judge
from the
needs to call them out
Massachusetts
on it,
State
though.
Police.
Stop allowing them.
Christopher Albert, Canton. Christopher Curran, Canton. Colleen Crawford from the Norfolk County DA's office. Colin Albert, Canton. Courtney
Colin.
Proctor, Canton. Kurt Roberts, Canton. Daniel Whitley
Terry
from the
Roberts.
Canton Fire Department. Daniel Wolf, PhD from Penns Park, Pennsylvania. Derek Ellington from Wake Forest, North Carolina. Dr. Marie Russell, who's from Los Angeles. Dr. Elizabeth Loposada, who is from Providence. Elizabeth Proctor, Canton. Eric Hanlon, Canton. Erin Beatty, Canton. Erin O'Keefe from West Bridgewater. Francis Walsh from the Canton Fire Department. Garrett Wing from Green Cove Springs, Florida.
5
Gary
jurors
Fowler
this
from
morning, Kim
Brockton.
said.
Gregory Woodbury from the Canton Fire Department. Gretchen Voss, Boston. Hannah Knowles from the State Police Crime Lab.
I agree, Maui.
Heather Maxon from Walpole. Arabito Hernandez from the Boston Police Department. Holly Price from Mountain View, California. Ian Whiffen, Vienna, Virginia.
Also have to agree,
Dr. Irina
Jennifer.
Scorti Bello, who is with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner in Massachusetts. PhD James
Damn.
Crosby from Jacksonville, Florida. Janet Reed, Dighton. Jason Becker, Canton Fire Department. Jean Demoulas, Canton. Jennifer McCabe, Canton. Jessica Hyde from Bridgeport, New York. John O'Keefe Sr., who lives in Braintree. Judson Welcher, also a PhD from a company called Aperture LLC. Julie Albert, Canton. Julie Nagel, Canton. Dr. Justin Rice from South Weymouth. There are 2 juveniles in this case, both of whom live in Canton. The first one's initials are KF, and the other is PF. Caitlin Boudreau, Raynham. Karina Kolakithis from Canton. Katie Camerano, Canton. Katie McLaughlin, Canton Fire Department. The keeper of the records for Ring from Hawthorne, California. Kerry Curran from Canton. Kerry Roberts, Canton. Kevin Albert, Canton. Kevin O'Hara from the Mass State Police. Lance Mello from the State Police Crime Lab. Laura Sullivan from Pembroke. Laurie Cahill from Worcester. Leslie Pearlstein from Canton. Lieutenant Michael Lank from the Canton Police Department. Louis Jutras, Canton. Lieutenant Brian Tully and Lieutenant John Fanning, both of whom work for the Massachusetts State Police. Lieutenant Paul Gallagher from the Canton Police Department. Maggie Gaffney, Bonita Springs, Florida. Mark Lopalato, Canton. Margaret O'Keefe, Canton. Marietta Sullivan, Pembroke. Mary Souza, Dighton. Matthew Amory from Canton. Matthew DeSogra from Charlotte, North Carolina. Matthew Erickson from Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan. Matthew Kelly from the Canton Fire Department. Matthew Kelsch from the FBI. Matthew McCabe, Canton. Maureen Harnett from the Mass State Police Crime Lab. Megan Mariani from New York, New York. Michael Camerano from Canton. Michael Easter, Los Angeles.
Katie McLaughlin
Michael
was
Trotter
harassed into
from the Canton
oblivion.
Public Works Department.
That poor girl.
Michael Wagner, Foxborough. Mike
Just
Moroli,
existing,
Bridgewater.
basically.
Mike Rushworth from Thompson Station, Tennessee. Natalie Wyweek Berschneider from San Marino, California. Nathan Reed from Raynham. Nicholas Bradford from Lorton, Virginia. Nicholas Curran from West Roxbury. Nicholas Kolakithis, Canton. Nicole Albert from Norwood. Norfolk District Attorney Michael Morrissey. Officer Kelly Deaver from the Boston Police Department. Officer Nicholas Barrows from the Dighton Police Department. Matthew Haggerty from Somerset. Paul Mikowski from Melrose. Paul O'Keefe from Canton. Rebecca Bison from Canton. Rebecca Trayers from Norfolk. Dr. Renee Stonebridge, who is also with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner here in Massachusetts, and she works out of Boston. Richard Green from the St. Pete Beach, Florida. Richard Donatno from Canton. Robert Gilman from Hull. Ryan Nagel from Canton. Sarah Levinson, Canton. Sergeant Brian Gallerini from the Needham Police Department. Sergeant Sean Good from the Canton Police Department.
She kind of
Sergeant
did
Paul
sing it a little.
DGM Petro, who Canton Police Department.
Me either, Jane.
Sergeant Yuri Buchanan from the Mass State Police. Shannon Burgess from South Lake, Texas, Cheryl Waugh from Canton, Sophie Herzad from
OMG,
the
right?
State Police Crime Lab, Stephanie Devlin, also from the Crime
I
Lab,
know what they look like.
Stephen Mullaney from the Canton Police Department, Steve Nelson from the Norfolk DA's office, Stephen Bernstein, who's a keeper of the records from
Steve
Stoughton,
Nelson is the
Stephen Ridge from the Boston Police, Stephen Surratt from the Canton Police,
right
Stephen
from
Scanlon from
McNasty's.
West Roxbury,
It's a good
Terry
one, Chris.
Kuhn from Davis, California,
He is
Tess Chart
the
from Norton,
advocate for the
Virginia,
witnesses. Well, some of
Thomas Beatty
not
from
all of them.
Canton, Thomas Kelleher,
Beatty.
Canton, Thomas Martin from Weymouth, Timothy Nuttall from the Canton Fire Department, Tristan Morris from Easton. The following people are Mass State Police troopers: Trooper Connor Keefe, Trooper David DeChico, Trooper Evan Brent, Trooper Jeffrey Koskowski, Trooper Joseph Paul, Trooper Kathleen Prince, Trooper Michael Proctor, Trooper Nicholas Garino, Trooper Zachary Clark, Wendell Robery from Canton, and William Reed from North Dayton, Mass. So those are potential witnesses in this case, or people whose names you'll hear during the trial.
No worries,
Obviously,
Ash.
this trial is going to take a long time to try. The lawyers tell me that their
I don't
best
know.
estimate, once
Good
we start
question,
with
though.
the evidence, is 6 to 8 weeks.
She's still
We're
out
in the
public.
process of impaneling a jury. We don't know when we'll finish that. We're toward the tail end of finishing that. But once we start, it will be a 6 to 8 week trial. That's our best estimate. Sometimes trials go longer, sometimes they go shorter.
That's right.
I can tell you that every day before we leave for the day, I tell jurors where we are, if we're on schedule, behind schedule, or ahead of schedule. And I've not had to tell a jury that we were behind schedule, and that's why we have that 6 to 8 week estimate. The
don't you have to?
schedule that we will have is we will start in the mornings at
Yeah.
9. We'll go until
Yep,
about
kinda
11 or
saves it a little.
so and have a break for about 15 or 20 minutes. We'll break for lunch, and you will have lunch delivered to you so that we
Isn't
don't
that nice? I
have
wish
you
my lunch could be
walking
delivered
into
to me
town
every day.
center and coming back, because we want to make the most efficient use of your time. So we'll do that, and our lunch breaks will be shorter because of
People
that.
don't even have
And we'll
any
go
idea
until
how
about
bad it
4
really
o'clock,
is either.
every day. So that's the schedule. There are some
Oh,
days
how real
off
bad
and
it
some
is.
half days in that 6 or 8 week period. And if you're selected for a jury, you'll get those dates before we start. So that's our schedule and the best estimate of where we'll be. Now, it might help if I give you a preview about some of the basic law that applies to criminal cases like this. As I said, it's my job to teach the jury the law, but I don't do that completely to the end of the case. But for now, I'll give you a brief summary of some of the very legal, constitutional principles that will govern this trial. First, and most basically, the defendant starts this trial presumed to be innocent. The fact that she was arrested or that she was indicted is not proof of anything. An indictment is simply a piece of paper. It just makes an accusation. An indictment is a formal manner of accusing a person of a crime and bringing that person to court to stand trial in the superior court. But it is only the jury, in other words, you folks, who can decide whether the prosecution has proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt. If the Commonwealth fails to do that, then the
SKYE
presumption
Mark.
of innocence requires you to
Yes,
find the defendant not
SKYE
guilty. The law does
3188.
not require a defendant to prove her innocence, to produce any evidence whatsoever,
That's it.
or to do anything other than
Thank
attend the
you.
trial. This presumption of innocence remains with the defendant until you, the jury, make your determination after listening and considering all the evidence. In a related important principle of law, the defendant has an absolute right
Was not
to
done
testify,
using chat.
since the entire
That is
burden
just
of proof in this case is on the
bold-faced
Commonwealth
lie.
to prove that she is guilty. Under our system
Right?
of law,
Me too.
a defendant has a perfect right to
Me
say to
too.
the government, you accuse me, now you prove it, and prove it beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. I do not have to say a word. A defendant's decision
agree,
whether
Kim.
or not to testify has nothing to do with the question of whether he or she is guilty or not guilty. The jury
No
must not
worries,
consider
Mark.
it in
It's
any way or
small.
even
Some people don't
discuss
see
it
it.
in their deliberations. Jurors in a criminal case must
I
decide
should be
whether
more
the Commonwealth has
specific.
proved
Bottom of
its
the
case
screen I'm
against the
on.
defendant beyond a reasonable doubt based solely on the testimony of the witnesses and the exhibits. That brings me to the requirement of proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, they don't
What is
realize,
proof beyond a reasonable
girl,
doubt?
that they
The
need
term
votes
is
for that.
often used and probably pretty well understood, though it is not easily defined. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt does not mean proof beyond all possible doubt. For everything in the lives of human beings is open to some possible or imaginary doubt. A charge is proved beyond a reasonable doubt if, after you have compared and considered all of
Yeah,
the
it does.
evidence,
That
you
indictment gets
have
you
in
in
your
cuffs.
minds an abiding conviction to a moral certainty that the charge is true. When we refer to moral certainty, we mean the highest degree of certainty possible in matters relating to human affairs, based solely on the evidence that has been put before you in a case. I have told you that every person is presumed to be innocent unless and until he or she is proved guilty.
Exactly,
And
Nair.
that the burden of proof is in the Commonwealth. If you evaluate all the evidence and you still have a reasonable doubt remaining, the defendant is entitled to the benefit of that doubt and must be acquitted.
It
It
is.
is not enough for the
It
Commonwealth to
is.
establish a probability, even a strong probability, that the defendant is more likely to be guilty than not guilty. That is not enough. Instead, the evidence must convince you of the defendant's guilt to a reasonable and moral certainty, a certainty that convinces your understanding and satisfies your reason and judgment as jurors who are sworn to act conscientiously on the evidence. This is what we mean by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Our system of justice depends on judges like me and jurors like you being able and willing to make careful and fair decisions. All people deserve a fair and equal treatment in our system of justice, regardless of their race, national origin, religion, age, ability, gender, sexual orientation, education, income level, or any other personal characteristic. You have agreed to be fair, and I'm sure that you want to be fair, but that is not always easy. One difficulty comes from our own built-in expectations and assumptions. They exist even if we're not aware of them and even if we believe we do not have them. Some of you may have heard this called implicit bias, and that is what I'm talking about. Of course, we judges have the same problem as everyone else, so let me share a few strategies that we have found useful. First, slow down. Do not rush to a decision. Hasty decisions are more likely to reflect stereotypes or hidden biases. Second, keep an open mind. Avoid drawing conclusions until the end of the case when you and your fellow jurors deliberate. Remember that when you deliberate, you will have all the evidence and all the time you need.
Yeah, they
to make a
changed it
careful
for court
decision.
for today.
So there
They
truly
weren't
is
going
no
to.
need to start making your mind up.
They
before
are.
then. Third, you should listen closely to all the witnesses. That is the best way to ensure that you decide this case based on the evidence and the law instead of upon any unsupported assumptions. Fourth, as you listen to testimony about the people involved in this case, consider them as individuals rather than as members of a particular group. Finally, I might ask myself, would I view the evidence differently if the people were from different groups, such as different racial, ethnic, or gender identity groups? At the end of this case, I will remind you of these strategies and ask you to focus on the evidence instead of on any unsupported assumptions you may have. All we ask is that you,
16
individually
still.
and as a group,
They
do
want
your
more.
best to resolve this case based upon the evidence and the law, without sympathy, bias, or prejudice, to the best of your ability as human beings. Now, I know that some of this may be confusing. Perhaps all of it is confusing at this early stage of the case. You'll certainly be in a better position to understand this at the end of the case when you've heard the evidence and I can explain the law in detail. So don't be worried if you didn't catch everything that I've said. Why am I telling you these things now? Because we need to know if you're able to follow the law in this case. You don't necessarily have to agree with the law, but all the jurors will have to apply the law as I describe it. So, for jury selection, it is important to know if any of you might have some doubts whether you can accept and follow these legal principles. So you can take your white cards out now if you don't already have them. So I'm going to ask you several questions, and if your answer is yes to any of those questions, please raise your hand. But before we begin, I understand that sometimes we don't fill out the the confidential juror questionnaire forms that were sent to you completely. Sometimes we're in a hurry to get them in, or sometimes you might think that your situation doesn't apply to the question that's been asked. So if you're sitting here now and you realize that maybe you forgot to put in your age or prior employment, or whether or not you've had experience as a defendant in a criminal case, or a party in a civil case or criminal case, or as a witness or a juror, please let us know when you come up to sidebar. And if there's a blank that needs to be filled in and you didn't remember it and we catch it, we're going to ask you those questions. All right, so first question. Do any of you folks or a close personal friend or family member know, or have you had any prior dealings with any of the witnesses whose names I've read?
963, 987, 1013, 982, 1034, 1018, 1017,
1038, 994.
Okay. Thank you. Do any of you folks or a close personal friend or family member know, or have you had any prior dealings with the lawyers or the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office? If so, please raise your hand.
982,
Thank you. Do any of you or a close personal friend or family member have any financial or other personal interest whatsoever in this case or its outcome? I see no affirmative responses. If you have seen, heard, or talked about this case, please raise your hand.
990, 1035, 1011, 978, 976, 987, 964, 984, 1020, 972, 1034, 1013, 971, 963, 1032, 982, 1036, 993, 979, 1003, 962, 1030, 989, 995, 988, 1030, 1005, 960, 1008, 968, and 983.
973, 1017, 1039, 1022, 1002, 1018, 965, 1027, 1021, 1015, 992, 1031, 970,
That's loud
998,
in the background. We are at 16. They're trying to go for 18.
994,
Why are we looking at the court reporter?
1037, 1038.
Thank you very much.
I wanted you to open things and never stop
Please raise
opening
your
things.
hand if you have expressed or formed any opinion.
I'm famous
with
for those
respect
types
to
of
this
gifts.
case.
We just open things and it feels like it never ends. There's just more stuff in there, like, because it's my way of showing people I appreciate them. And I appreciate you more than you know. You're always willing to listen to me, bitch, if I need to.
987, 964, 972,
I know, Naya, right? That's just the OJ thing was like, what? Oh, I appreciate you, Jesse. Thank you, my friend. I don't live in that area, but sometimes we are in that area. My in-law lives in that area. Go to that Mary Lou's in Hanover. Yeah, anywhere that they can't see the jury, basically.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
even though she bitched and whined and said the audit was going to show everything and it was going to be great, but now that it's not showing what they want,
Are any of you folks aware of
that's
any
a problem.
bias or prejudice that you may have in regard to this case?
Here we go.
Or
How
in
many?
favor of or against either of the parties? If so, please raise your hand.
Yeah, we got to watch that. That's it. I don't believe that.
Thank you.
Stop it. I did. It was
Do any of
disgusting,
you
Eva.
folks have any difficulty
It was
hearing
gross.
or any problem with understanding the English language? Any physical or mental condition or any religious or philosophical belief that would make it difficult for you to hear the evidence in this case, to understand the evidence, to
Yeah, that's
concentrate
it.
during the
4.
trial, or to deliberate for the purpose of reaching a verdict?
I do not buy
If
that.
so, please raise your hand.
Not even a little.
I see no affirmative responses.
I'm sorry, just one after the other.
Oh, it's 2.
2.
Okay, thank you. Would any of you folks have any difficulty
Me either.
following those very
Intellectual
important
property.
constitutional rights that I explained to you? First, that the burden of proof rests entirely with the Commonwealth. Second, that burden of proof is proof beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. And third, that the defendant has absolutely no burden. She can just sit in that chair and not ask a single question, not produce a single witness, and not testify on her own behalf. Anyone have any difficulty with those 3 very important constitutional principles? Okay. 983. Now, I can tell you folks that after every jury trial, I talk to the jurors, and they always tell me that even though they may have not wanted to have jury duty, that they have found it to be an interesting experience, and many tell me that they
too,
find
Jessie.
it to have been a rewarding experience.
What is she shaking her head at?
But I do understand that for some of you jurors, given the schedule that we have, serving on this
That's
jury
disgusting.
may be a substantial hardship. And let me tell you what I mean by substantial hardship. Every civic duty that we have requires us to be inconvenienced in some way. This is much more than inconvenience.
Her face
It means
disgusts
that
me.
there's something personal to you that means that you will be excused, but the person sitting next to you will have to take your place. I generally think of it in terms of you have surgery or vacation plans scheduled.
Surgery or
airline tickets
vacation.
Scheduled for the time that
Or
we're
I don't know.
in
Couldn't pay their rent. Out there for 6
jury
weeks.
trial here.
Pisses me off the judge.
If you think you have a
Financial
substantial hardship, please
hardship
raise your hand.
would be a reason. Financial hardship.
990, 1035, 1011, 978, 967, 964, 972, 102.
I can't blame some of them for moving, Jesse, you know? I know, right? Show me the laptop screen.
1010, 1012, 968, 1008, 960,
973, 974, 988 1022 1018 965 1027 1015 992 1031 970 1038.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to leave the bench in a minute or so to give you a chance to fill out the juror questionnaires. I'd ask that you not talk to anybody about the questionnaires, either about what your questions might be or comments or any concerns that you have about jury duty, either generally or in particularly this case, and please don't share your answers. So if you have any questions or concerns, you'll be able to talk to me about that when you come up to sidebar. All right, thank you very much.
All right, everyone, please.
You are muted. Goodbye.
Whoa. Damn it. Damn it. Thought we were going to get a hot mic for a minute. And we didn't, of course. Hold on. Let me get rid of this real quick because now we don't, or at least mute it or whatever. I'm going to find John's video that we're going to watch too because it was a good question he asked her. So hold on. Let me see if I can pull that up on his X. There it is right here. It's funny. Hold on. I'm going to bring it all the way back here and then blow it up. And then, oh, damn it. I can't blow it up until after. Shit. Hold on. Hold on, guys. I want to get this on here. All right. So I'm going to blow it up and it's going to play at the same time. So we're going to do it real quick because it's only a couple seconds long. All right. Ready? Here we go. Oh, boy. This is John DePetro outside the courthouse this morning when Karen's walking in. Nada. Nothing. Just quietness. And there's like, of course, about 15 or so supporters apparently this morning. But way to go, John. Way to go. Seriously, that was great. Like that was fucking great. That was great. Oh, you can't. It said I lost audio. Did you guys get to hear it the first time? Or did you not hear it at all? Because I don't know. It when I came back to my screen, it said something about I had lost the screen share audio. Like, why am I losing screen share? Okay, good. Screen share audio. That's weird. Like, yeah, that's as loud as it goes, unfortunately. You didn't hear it. Yeah, I don't know. It said I lost it, but he says, was OJ framed, Karen? Was there blood in the Bronco? And that was it. But of course, nothing from her or her team, you know. Also, we want I know I did it in chat, but we also want to say happy birthday to our members who have birthdays today. Scorpio, Jen, like happy birthday. And I know someone said that their loved one who had passed away had a birthday today. So happy birthday to them too, because that's going to be a little bit painful. You know, anybody, I know when it's my dad's birthday, it's a tough day, you know, it's just one of those days. So happy birthday to everybody. We also have a birthday this week. Leah's birthday is this week. And she's one of my really close, good friends. And I just want to say how much I appreciate her. I appreciate all of my really good friends, and she's one of them. And I'd be lost without her sometimes as she listens to me bitch when I need to, and lets me complain if I need to, and always makes me feel better. She gives me good pep talks, like suck it up, Elise, do it. Like, but no, she gives good advice and good pep talks. And so everybody knows when I do like a present or I do like a gift, I'm one of those people that likes to like get a lot of things, like even if they're not very expensive things, but like I want you to feel like that gift never ends. So I sent a few things to her for her birthday, and she's like, I got all these boxes. And I'm like, yeah, dude. I didn't know if they were all going to come in one box or not, but I like that feeling of like never ending gifts. I did the same thing for Christmas, even if it's smaller things that aren't really worth a ton of money, but like have that value of meaning something to you, or like a sentimental, you know. And so I found this one cup, and it says, I'm teaching humans how to speak dog, and she trains dogs. So I was like, oh, this is such an appropriate cup. And I sent her that cup along with a couple other things. But I just wanted to say how much I appreciate her, and I want her to have an amazingly happy birthday. And even though she's states and so far away, my friendship goes all over the world. So even if you were on the tippity top opposite side of the world, my friend, I would not forget you. So I don't forget any of my good friends. We did a really good birthday gift. Me and a couple other people threw in for a birthday gift for my friend Kara this winter, and her birthday happens to be the day before mine. And I was like, I want to do something unique, like something like different, you know? So we got her this box, and it's a star. It gets named after, we named the star after her. We gave it her birth date as a date. And then it comes with like a necklace, and it has the coordinates of the star on one side and the name of the star, which is, we named it after her, on the other side. And then it's like a map and a certificate, and then we sent her crumble cookies. So I'm more one of those people that wants to do something that like means something or gives a that sentimental feeling of like somebody actually friggin' hears me when I talk, you know, like, and they know the things that I would like. So I figure everybody should get something that means something to them, you know, not just something they can use and could throw away, but something that has some significant meaning, you know? Does the Rhonda wants to know, I know, right? Are they? They want to know that they're drinking Fiji water. I'm like, look at all the fillers and replacements and Botox she's got in her face that her FKR donations are going to, where she's putting all the filler in her face. And I'm over here like, oh, look at these grades that I need to cover. That probably would cost me like $120 maybe, or a little bit more at the salon that I cannot afford to do at the moment. I don't even know what I'm going to do for Easter. We have Easter coming. That's going to be fun. I'm like, now I'm in like time crunch scramble mode because it's getting really close to Easter and bills have just been paid. And yeah, we in the broke territory. So, but we all figure it out. All right, let's see. Hold on a second. I have like a list of things like the clock. I do think patience is the top name for that clock right now, but we will still like take more names if anybody can think of a good name for the clock, and then we'll vote. But I do think patience is the best one yet far. Like, because we had Fanny the Fan, we gotta name the clock. Okay, time to name that damn clock. Like, and then Rhonda has a question. Never ignorance, Rhonda. Never. There's never dumb questions over here. We will totally always answer them to the best of our ability. She said, after these people are ready to serve and answer the questions, does the defense and the Commonwealth get to ask those people questions before accepting him? Yes, they do. They get to do voir dires with the judge and ask questions to see if they're appropriate fit for a juror. So the answer to that is yes, they do. Well, yeah, she's got also like law clerks and stuff. So she's got law clerks, she's got, all these different things, and none of them are being paid. Okay, cool. Like, Freak said, ouch. The court has now entered the depths of hell. Keep all hands inside the car, please, people. Oh, man. Yeah, that reporters are like, wait, what? Nobody else had the balls to ask things like that. Regular mainstream media can't, like, it's frowned upon for them to ask any questions like that. They just throw the softball questions, and I'm not about that softball questions. Yeah, that picture of Jen McCabe and her, they sold it for like $300 for the auctioning that they did at that event. Like, I'm sorry, but that is somebody else's work product. Like, that's their property. So they basically blew up a picture that a media pool camera took and auctioned it off. Ridiculous. John DePetro runs his own show, though. Like, I don't know if he was fired or not from whatever, but he has his own show. He does his own mainstream, independent instead of mainstream media. Which, I have to appreciate, because I do think that, so I'll try to replay Aurora in a second. Let me see if you guys will get the audio this time. The audio was working, and then when I came back to my screen, it said, no, it wasn't. So let's try one more time. That was it. That was it. Yeah, happy birthday, guys. Happy birthday, the both of you. Yeah, freak with the link so you guys can watch it yourselves. It's all the way up. I don't know what it is with the audio, but it is all the way up. Yeah, it's disgusting that they sold that photo for $300. I mean, unnecessary, and also it's somebody else's work product. Hi, Aaron. Oh, well, happy birthday, Penny. We have a third birthday. Happy birthday, Penny. Wow, you guys are birthday buddies today. Happy birthday, my friend. Listen, 59 is the new 29, my friend. Own it. Own it and love it. I will tell you, my body feels like a 79-year-old, though, with the pain. Aww. You know what, though? I bet they're up there, Aurora, watching you, and they are proud. You have to think that they're up there and that they can see, and that they watch and that they keep us safe, Happy birthday, Penny, my friend. Happy birthday. Yeah, the problem with that is that my freaking hair grows so quick. Like, the ends of them grow so quick. After like a week and a half, I start to see it coming through. So I'm going to have to just start using professional dye. Otherwise, I'd be dyeing it every like 2 weeks, I am hearing, yep, it's Jen's birthday too. And it's also Scorpio Moon Girl's birthday. So you guys are just birthdaying it up, Like, yeah, the only other one to ask questions like that is Grant. Yep. Openings are supposed to be tomorrow, but I'm hearing they're going to be pushed to Wednesday. I don't know. I guess we won't know until later on today. We probably won't know until the end of the day, I'm guessing. Yes, sir. That is the Cash App. That is correct. I mean, I'm hopefully, like, don't get wrinkles for at least a couple more years. I'm actually shocked at the age of 38 that I don't have more. I have a couple like when I go like this, but I think everybody has those when they sort of scorch their brow, but like up here. But like other than that, like I think I'm doing pretty. I think I'm doing pretty good. Thank you, Mark. I do obviously read donations, guys. Let me actually check real quick, make sure I'm not missing anything. If you'd like to donate to the channel, we would very much appreciate it. It is the only way that we don't have super chats or super stickers or anything like that here. That's the only way that we cover costs and survive here is the donations we get from you guys. And if you can't, obviously that's totally okay. You still get to watch for free, and I still, will highlight your comments and we'll still have chats. You could also like and subscribe and share the video. That helps. We're trying to grow here. A little bit of growth goes a long way. But doesn't look like I have anything yet. Just want to make sure. I do have it on. So let's see. Why doesn't the prosecution also verify the list of jurors? Do they scrutinize online activity as closely as the defense? Well, what do you mean? The prosecution has the list of jurors. It's the defense that keeps asking for the list. The defense is the one who keeps asking for the list of the jurors. The prosecution has they have the names, the list of the jurors as well. Both do. Both should have the lists, but the defense, I think what they're trying to do is put it on the record. They're both supposed to, be able to vet the jury, of course. But I think what the defense wants is for it to be on record, of course, sealed because it's going to be sealed. But if you put it on the record, it's also a way for it to be leaked, whether it's sealed or impounded or not. You know what I'm saying? So I think they're doing something sketchy. That's what I think, because what reason would they need to keep asking for something that they would have already gotten? It doesn't make sense to me. And they do scrutinize online activity. They have the names of the people. They do searches and stuff. And I do believe that Hank and his team, because it's not just Hank, remember that he has other people at his disposal to help him. And so he does use those people to be able to, scrutinize anybody clearly they have caught people lying. They've dismissed people in voir dires. They have been brought up and cell phones have been shown. So I'm assuming something online was shown. Like, is this you? Because you know what I'm saying? So I'm guessing some people are getting caught lying, and even with social media that they thought that they scrubbed, or that they thought the people didn't see, or under accounts that they thought were anonymous. So I have to believe that they're doing their best to make sure, Maestro said, uploaded a video of a full jury selection with the voir dire done by the most expensive jury consultant, Josh Dubin, if anyone is interested. Interesting. I am interested. I'm always interested in stuff like that. Always. Is it on your X? Let me stop sharing this for 1 second. Let's see. Or is it on your YouTube? Let's see. Because I'll play that, you know what I mean? I think that's something definitely interesting people would want to see. Hey, Trisha! Yeah, we know that it shows what time John unbuckled his seatbelt. I did hear that. I heard him say that. That was very interesting to me. Oh, I know. It just drives me nuts how fast it comes through. It's so frustrating. Yeah, so that's the thing. They have like someone that like does all that. Guess expense consultant does equal acquittal. Doesn't equal acquittal. Oh, thank you, MYB. I appreciate it. I hope most of you watch or bounce between channels or do whatever. I know some people prefer to watch Kevin during trial. Some people prefer to watch me. Some people prefer to watch other people. Like, totally okay, you know? Whoever you want to watch, I hope you watch it and we get some new information and this justice moves forward, you know? Interesting, Crispy. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's because my hair is so dark, it sticks out like a sore thumb. That's my problem. Like, it is only the content creators on the prosecution side is asking for a fair and impartial jury. I just want a jury that doesn't know anything about this case, that can look at it from square one. That's what I want, because I believe that anybody looking at it from square one, not being poisoned by misinformation and Karen's PR team, can look at the pieces of evidence and say, clearly, without a doubt, Karen hit John. I believe that. I do believe that anybody looking at this and not being poisoned by these people, or poisoned by misinformation that's being parroted over and over and over by people on social media, even when it's not true, I do believe that an impartial jury could come to the conclusion of guilt. And I think people forget there's 354 of you watching right now. And I think some people forget that in Massachusetts, you do not need intent. And I keep seeing lawyers on court TV, lawyers online, law tubers. And I consider myself like maybe not a law tuber because I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, I've studied law probably longer than some of them have been practicing. And I do know my shit. So it really hurts when I have to watch these people purposely lie and for their audience to get more donations. It hurts because I don't believe in just lying to people because it's the popular fucking thing to say. Like, and because it brings you more money. I just don't believe in that kind of crap. And they're purposely lying or just not doing research. In Massachusetts, you don't need intent for murder too. You just need to, the prosecution just needs to prove that a reasonable person would have known that DUIing in the snow at night could cause death, that it was reckless, very reckless, like that had a disregard for human life. And there's no intent required. So I keep hearing them say, well, murder too requires intent. It does not require intent, what she's being charged with here in Massachusetts. You remember that. Just remember that over and over in your brain. They do not have to prove intent for murder too in Massachusetts. Does not require intent. Okay. It is totally coming, Jesse. It's totally coming. I don't know. I didn't watch that one. Is it on your YouTube or is it? I have tried that. And the problem with that is if it rains or you sweat, it starts to drip down your forehead. It's not a good look. Oh, damn. Per hour, that's nutty. That is nutty. Nobody could afford that unless you're super rich. Like, I mean, there's been a few. There has been a few people that didn't know anything about this. I do believe, not obviously a lot of them, but there has been a few people that knew nothing about this. I don't doubt that there are some people that don't pay attention to some of this stuff and don't watch. Like for me, I don't have cable, so I don't watch mainstream media. I wouldn't see anything about anything on mainstream media because I don't have it. Like I have streaming instead, but I don't have cable, so I don't watch regular news. I get my news from places that I know I can trust online, but I don't watch regular mainstream media. So if I never watched mainstream media and say, for instance, I didn't use the internet and I was, a busy lawyer or a busy doctor or a busy whatever, like, those upper class people who make a ton of money but are like working 16 hours sort of thing. Like, do I really have time to sit there and watch the news too? No. If I probably don't have cable either, I have streaming services. I'm going to watch what I want to watch when I'm falling asleep, probably a TV show, a movie. But I do believe that there are some people that know nothing about this. I mean, there are people in my city that know nothing about this. Never heard of it. No idea who any of the characters involved in this, including the sewer turtle, are. You know, more people have no idea who he is than he seems to think. Oh, you're totally welcome. I hope you have an amazing freaking birthday. And listen, believe you when I say I know with mental health, and I'm very, that's a very serious thing, especially here on my channel. My dad, who adopted me when I was 4, is my stepdad, but that was my dad my whole life, and he died of suicide. And I got this tattoo when my dad died, and it says "Daddy," and it's wings with a cross and the rosary, and I keep my dad close to my heart. But my dad was an amazing guy, and he didn't tell people he was struggling with his mental health. I also suffer from CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder from the abuse I've suffered as a kid and young adult. And believe you me when I say I know what it's like to have anxiety. I know what it's like to have panic. I know what it's like to have, nightmares in your dreams every night and wake up sweating in a pool of sweat. And I know what it's like to have depression, and believe you me, it's not easy. It is not easy, and it's definitely something that should be taken seriously. And this is for anybody here. Like, if there's a day that you're struggling, like you're having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, or you're just having one of those days, like, feel free to reach out. I'll always answer. It might take me a minute, but feel free to reach out. I will always answer. And sometimes you just need to talk it through with someone. That anxiety you're feeling about whatever it is, it could be about nothing. You don't even know why it's triggered sometimes. But sometimes you just need someone to listen, or someone to make you laugh, to take your mind off it, or someone to just talk to and cry so that you can get it out. Like, and I don't ever mind being that person. If not everybody has family and friends that are available to help them at any given time. A lot of people like me have not many family that's still left living. Most of my family has passed. And so you make your own family, right? That's what you do. You make your own family. So for anybody that needs a picked family or a made family, you're in the right place, because I pick all of you as my family, and I am always here if one of you needs me. And I know a lot of you are there for each other, which is why I'm so proud of this community in general, So Maui said, I think Reed knew she hit him. I think she either thought he'd get up or somebody would find him, and she waited for that response and then freaked out in the morning when she didn't get it. I agree. I think she thought maybe he got up and went in the house and whatever. But clearly, if you're calling him 24 minutes later and saying nobody knows where you are, she was clearly setting up at least some sort of story. Nobody knows where you are. Well, you just said 9 or 15 months later, whatever it was in the first interview. I would think it was 15 months later in that first interview she did, 2020 maybe it was, that she watched him walk up to the doorway and stick his head inside. That story didn't come about until over a year later. So if that's the case, why would you be calling him 24 minutes later saying nobody knows where you are? You never called the Alberts to ask. You didn't call Jen at that point to ask. So how would you know nobody knows? If you saw him walk to the door, wouldn't someone know? I mean, it just doesn't add up, folks. Only pieces of Ring video that are missing are the ones that would show Karen's taillight, and magically those are the only ones missing. Who does that benefit? You know what I mean? Who does that benefit? Nobody's going to frame her and then delete things that would prove her guilt. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, malice, yes. It is, especially when it comes to juries. Voir dire in general, we had some voir dires we saw last time, but like the jury ones, it's almost impossible to find. Well, billboards, yeah, but that doesn't always mean that you know about it. Just seeing the billboard itself doesn't mean somebody's going to look it up. Like, okay, cool, free Karen Reed, whoever the fuck that is, and whatever the fuck that is. Some people just don't care, and they're like, whatever. Some people don't even look at the billboards, to be honest. Because I've lived in that area before, I don't even pay attention to any of the billboards there. Like, I remember driving down, I've driven to Florida about 1 billion times. I have family down there. My brother lives down there. But even the ones like down to Florida, like I found myself like completely not paying attention to after reading like the first 4. I was like, all right, I don't care. Like, we can agree to disagree on all of that. I'm not even going to argue. I wish it just blended in, but the problem is it just stops at some point, like right around here-ish, and then everything else is black. So it doesn't exactly blend. I think it look like it does a little, but it doesn't really blend that well. Well, that's the thing, right? The lack of actions. The lack of actions and then the other things that she did. Like, and that's the fact is her taillight completely cleared John's car, as we know, you know. I would rather people reach out, you know what I mean? I would. Oh, I love that, Aurora. See, you guys got the same tattoo. I love that. Oh, I love that. But that's something you'll have forever, you know? She had to have known, right? Like, you just have to. Like, you had to have. Like, there's no way. You don't back up at 24 miles an hour because you're happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, she wasn't happy, and she's not claiming she wasn't the one who backed that vehicle up. Like, you know? The point of impact, what do you mean? From behind the fire hydrant. She was pulled up past the fire hydrant. You realize that, right? That's right. We do go on the facts. We don't go on speculation or conspiracy. We go on the verifiable facts. Like, you realize that, like, before he passed out, he very well could have sat up. You realize that, right? It's a very real possibility. Like, yeah, they are. They absolutely are. Going for the messy investigation, jury nullification. That's something I feel like that they probably should have done the first trial if they really wanted to get her off, but I just don't feel like it didn't work the first time, and it's not gonna work the second time, especially with all the new evidence, you know? Like, the fact that, yeah, comparing it. I think that was Sue, which I have about 0 respect for that woman. You know? My dad used to say that, Penny. My dad used to say that. It's so funny. Oh my god, the fact that you just said that, like, that's my dad popping in to say hello because we were talking about him. But my dad used to say that. My dad was one of the funniest people I know. But when we were little, he would say, "You can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose." Like, just to be a goofball. Like, my dad used to say things like that all the time. Like, so funny. Oh man. Right? Morgan and Morgan. The billboards, like 24 point whatever miles an hour, 2 or 3, I think it was, you know? Like, yep, Karen herself said she has no idea where that lie came from, that there was no blood, that there was a lot of blood. Karen herself says this. So I hate it. I hate it so much, Lisa. I hate it. And to be fair, I have to like straighten it because I have you know, the Spanish I'm Spanish and Irish. I'm also Congolesian, West African. I'm like a bunch of different things, but mostly Spanish and Irish. And so my hair is frizzy and wavy. So when I get out of the shower, it is not straight like this. It is frizzy and wavy. It's not quite curly, but it's not straight either. I have very textured hair. Like, well, the turtle must not have told everyone, you know, because you can't believe anything unless the turtle says so, right? Because that's how it works over there. I have never heard that there was blood on John's shoe. I don't know where that came from, but I do know that he lost a shoe. Like, it's called physics, my friend. Physics. But what we're not going to distract from what we're talking about today. Retired LT. This is a new name. Welcome. It's a good point. That is correct. What do you mean mysteriously sat up? I mean, he could have sat up before he passed out in an attempt to get up, and then the injury took hold and he passed out. It's very possible that that happened. So what do you mean mysteriously? What would be mysterious about it exactly? And exactly, it is called the transfer of momentum. And nobody said he flew, by the way, either. Nobody said he flew. No one. Yeah. Or he could have vomited, in the bathroom at the bar and didn't want to tell anybody and it splashed up onto him. That's a very real possibility as well. Doesn't mean it happened right then and there. Or because of the head strike, he puked. He could have sat up, it could have crawled, and it could have got on him from crawling. I don't know. You're not ever going to always have the answers either. Like, it's just not ever going to always have every single answer. But what we do know is Karen backed that car up at 24 point something miles per hour. And guess what? John's phone stopped moving forever just seconds later. And it was found in the same place he was found at 6 a.m. So, I mean... just saying. It is a normal side effect of a head injury. That's why I say he could have sat up, tried to attempt to get help, and passed out, Well, I guess we'll find that answer out, Zep, at trial, right? Like, that answer will come at trial about what new evidence we know that they have, what time John took his seatbelt off, which leads me to believe that they have what time his butt came up out of that seat, and if Karen's butt came up out of her seat. So, I mean, a happy person doesn't back up that fast at night while drinking in the snow. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. That was the max distance. He didn't actually get thrown 30 feet. I know exactly where he was approximately on that lawn, and it wasn't 30 feet. And also, he wasn't hit straight on in the back of the car. Just FYI on that one. We don't use speculation here. We use facts. All the facts. Hey, see that? Most of us watched the entire trial, and most people who weren't fed a conspiracy beforehand look at the evidence and say, yeah, we hit him. Like, I don't think he tried to calculate them. But since we have some, actually a few people here that are in that field, like, I know, Kings, right? I can't. I'm like totally ready though for opening statements. I know you guys are too. It's getting a little anxiety ridden. It's like, now is the time, They did look haggard and defeated. That's okay. Replay crew is one of my favorites. You guys are just as important as live play crew, because when the stream is over and you guys comment on it, that helps the algorithm sort of push it out to YouTube to have other people find us that didn't know that we existed before, Yep. Bluetooth, what time Bluetooth's connected or disconnected from the car would be data they might have. We know that they have speed. I want to know if they know if that YouTube song was on the radio. How loud was it? And when those alarm bells started ringing, because if they have the alarms going off in her car from when she's backing up, there's no way out for her. Not even a little. Not that there was anyway, but if they have the alarm bells going off and then what time John's phone stopped moving, I mean, they already have the car data about when she backed up, so that's pretty, pretty solid evidence already. But I mean, come on now. Like, come on now. Think we have. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you so much. We have a donation from Mark. Thank you, Mark. It's $100. It says, have lunch or dinner with your daughter, Mark. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you so much. That's our first one of the day. So thank you very, very much, Mark. I appreciate it more than you know. I always appreciate you guys. Let me just make sure there's no PayPals. I don't want to have to accidentally skip anyone here. Nope. All right. Perfect. I don't want to miss anyone. It's going to be a long week, folks. It's going to be a long 6 to 8 weeks, My son is Puerto Rican and Irish straight. Right? Mine's not straight. And I get dark. I get really dark in the summertime. My tinge is like a yellowy tinge to my skin. So it's funny because 2 out of the 3 of my daughters are like whiter than white, like their dads. And my oldest, she's the one who gets dark like me. She gets that more exotic side of me. So Stella, that's a good question. For me, I think at first I thought it was a terrible accident that she didn't know about, but now going from then to now, I think obviously with all the evidence that we have now, I do think that she knew, because that I still can't, you can't get me past the voicemail. 24 minutes after she left Fairview, she calls John's phone and says, John, nobody knows where you are. And that doesn't go with her, oh, well, I watched him walk up to the house, or skip up. Next, it was Skip, the ever-changing stories of hers. He skipped up to the house. Well, that doesn't really work when you're saying nobody knows where you are, right? Like that, and we know what time she backed up and when his phone stopped moving forever. We also know that her alarms were going off because she made her own butt dial that night. More than one, as a matter of fact. But she made a butt dial when she was pulling into John's garage after she left Fairview. And you can hear all the alarms in her car going off as she pulls into the garage. That means those alarms were on when she hit John. So there's no way you didn't know. Would you have been that drunk that you just didn't care? Maybe, but even that drunk, you would know if your alarms are going off, that means you're going to hit something. And also, nobody is going to gun their car 24 miles an hour at 75% acceleration. So that pedal was 75% of the way down. Okay. She accelerated at 75%. You know what you're doing. She knows she hit him. Before those pieces of evidence came out, I would have thought maybe it could have been an accident. Maybe she was drunk and didn't know she hit him. But after you tell me she backs up at 24 miles an hour, not 10, not 5, not 3, 24 point, it's either 2 or 3 miles an hour, and uses 75% acceleration. 75. That's the data. That's the hard data. That's a fact. She's not saying anybody else drove her car. She's not claiming she wasn't the one driving her vehicle. We know that the data can't be tampered with. And there were 2 experts, one for the defense and one for the prosecution there. Both times the chip on and chip off happened. So it leads me to believe at that point that she absolutely knew and took steps to cover it up. Well, that's the thing. He never entered the house, as we know from his phone data. It was found where he was found. Karen says she tried to take his phone out of his pocket. Hence why it was found underneath him, because she tried to pull it out of his pocket. Like, projectile is a thing. And I will tell you, because when I was pregnant, with the 2 out of 3 of my daughters, I projectiled. With my last one, I had hypermesis. So that means like excessive morning sickness. It was so bad. And I projectile. Woo! It was projectile, I promise you. And it was bad. No, my theory is that it was clipped by the back of the car. That's my theory, is that he was clipped by the back of the car. I didn't say he was struck in the arm. I said he was clipped by the back of the car. I don't know exactly where on his body he was hit. Maybe his back, maybe his elbow broke the light. I don't know. But what I do know is that his arm at his height in that car lines directly up with where the taillight is. And I don't think that that's a coincidence. Just saying. Literally. And we've done this experiment. There are pictures to prove. The person who is exactly the same height as John is standing, and if you outreach your arm like this straight from you, it is the exact height of where that taillight would have been, where your elbow is. So I don't think that that's a coincidence. Exact model of Karen's car, exact same height. Thank you, Kings. Exactly. You don't always have to know the answer to every single question. You don't. You just really don't. You don't need to know the answer to every single question because you're never going to know the answer to every single thing of any case. I am never going to know probably what exactly happened to my friend Miguel. What I do know is the FBI is offering a reward right now for any information that leads to bringing him home or his remains. He's been missing since 2006. And what I do know is eventually when that story is told of what happened to him, they're not going to know everything. They're just not. They might know who's involved, but they certainly do not know everything that happened or why. And we're never going to know. They don't need that to convict the person who did it to him or people. We're never going to have the answer to every single question, and not answering every single question doesn't make somebody not guilty. Just doesn't. That's right. She didn't know the way to Fairview. She'd only been there once. She probably used her sat nav the next morning to return on her own. That's another thing. If she used the GPS on there, we very well might have the information on when. You know? Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Well, that's the thing. I mean, you are using a lot of speculation, my friend, and not many facts. Like, well, if her butt came out of that seat after she hit him, we know that would be when she pulled that piece of glass out of his nose and he was gushing blood. It would be when he was still alive, and that would be a huge problem for her. Like, when you hit your head, vomiting is the first thing that happens if you have head trauma. So vomiting is very consistent with the head injury. Yes, it is. I would love to know. I mean, here's the thing. If they have the time that John took his seatbelt off, then I have no doubt that they know what time his butt came out of that seat. And if they know what time his butt came out of that seat, then they know what time Karen's butt came out of her seat. So that I find extremely interesting. Yes, I knew about this. I didn't say anything publicly, but I did know about this. Colin was being followed. That's why. So Chris told him to drive to the police station, and he did. Like, dude, you have anything better to do but follow this poor kid? For what? For what reason? Leave him alone, dude. You can audit the police all you want, but you don't need to follow this kid. Like, come on, man. There's lots of things that they say that we have that has been completely debunked by actual facts. You did. Thank you, Mark. I know I'm super behind on the comments by like 10 minutes, but I did get it. Thank you. Pulling the glass from the nose. Okay, so Karen Reed is half in the bag, notices a small shard of glass perched on his nose. Half drunk, it's dark, and she notices. Yeah, I know. This is what she claims, right? Like, this is what she claims. That she pulled a piece of glass from his nose and he started gushing blood. Well, dead people don't gush, so it couldn't have been at 6 a.m, you know? I am also looking forward to the accident reconstructionist, Brittany. Yeah, unless he really wanted him disqualified. So that tells me that whatever they're going to say is not so good for the defense. Like, you know what I mean? That, first of all, once again, nobody said he flew. No one. No one said he flew. So there's that, number one. Number two, there's a whole bunch of different circumstances to which way someone goes and how far, depending on a bunch of factors. Like, oh yeah, I feel like their expert knew that there was data and how to hide it without having the Commonwealth's expert realize that they weren't getting all the data the first time. Because as we know, the defense expert is the one that did the chip off, chip on the first time and is the one that didn't get all the data that was there. So it makes me wonder, did they know how to extract basic data that they knew they were going to have to, but not give the more damning shit? Like, feel like it's a real possibility. Obviously, that's my opinion, but it's a real possibility. The Commonwealth doesn't have to prove why John vomited or when he vomited. No, they don't. The Commonwealth doesn't have to prove everything and at what time. No, they don't have to prove that. They just have to prove that Karen hit him with the car. And I think that they got pretty good evidence to prove exactly that. Yeah, they would already have it. Yep. Exactly. Freak says, how much of the force imparted by the Lexus got transferred to John? And how much went as linear momentum and how much as rotational? Exactly. We're from the planet of facts. That's the planet that we're from. Ooh, that'll be good. Karen made the voicemails over Bluetooth. We will get GPS for those, Maestro said. That will be fun. That will be real fun. Who said his entire body flew through the air? Once again, you're the only person claiming that. No one has claimed that his entire body flew through the air. No one. Nobody said he's Superman. Sorry to burst your bubble there, bub. Like, no one, as a matter of fact, said that he flew. I pretty much have leaned not guilty because the first trial didn't prove guilt. Well, do you think with the new evidence that it will? Do you think not guilty just because you didn't think there was enough evidence, or do you think not guilty because you think she actually didn't do it? Like, I'm just fascinated to know, like, what your take is on it. Do you think that they have enough this time? If they have all this new, I mean, they have the bite patterns of Chloe from before and after John passed, and now they also have the paw. Yeah, they do not need to prove every single thing. They don't have to answer every single question every person on planet Earth has about it, and they're never going to. They never have in any single murder case answered every single question. They don't have to prove that. Well, that's the other thing. Doubt she was having that, music blaring while they were fighting. You'd turn that down. And sometimes, just sometimes, cars will turn it down when the alarms are going off. So even if you turned it back up when he got out of the car, the alarms would sort of interrupt it, They do have what time he undid his seatbelt. They do. I believe Hank said 12:31. But I'd have to go back and watch it. But I remember when he said we have what time John took his seatbelt off, and then he said whatever time it was. I think we've been extremely patient at this point. That patience wears out at some point, but we have been very, very patient. The temperature from John's phone together with the time will prove it beyond any doubt. And I believe that will definitely be a nail in that coffin. No, so what you have to remember, Stella, is that it had just begun sticking at the time that this happened. So there wasn't an accumulation of snow already. It was still there was still ground underneath John. And the reason why is because, once again, it had just started sticking right when this happened. So she wouldn't have gotten stuck. There would be nothing to get stuck on yet. Right? There was nothing for her to get stuck on yet at the time that this happened. Actively, it was starting to accumulate onto the grass, right? So it's just starting to stick in little places. John's body, when he was hit and he lay there, the little tiny bit of snow, which wasn't even a half an inch because it had just started sticking, melted from his body temperature, and there was nothing underneath him but dirt and grass when he was found, because the snow accumulated all on top of him over those hours of being out there. So when this happened, there was nothing for Karen to get stuck on. It wasn't a foot of snow. It wasn't even a quarter and it wasn't even an inch of snow for her to get stuck on the road. It had just started accumulating onto the grass, and it was just starting to stick to the ground. So there was nothing for her to get stuck on, you know? And also, there would be no reason for her to have to back up. She could have just went straight forward. No reason for her to back up at all. There was nobody in front of her. Just street. She could have just pulled forward. No reason, definitely, to be doing 75% acceleration on the roadway with no accumulation for you to be stuck on anything. Yeah, they don't even know where he killed her. You know, they don't even know where Lacey was killed. But he was convicted because of all the other pieces of evidence. Yeah, we know that too. The wheels didn't spin. They had all that data in the first trial. So they know all that. So I do know that we had an original prosecution list somewhere. I'd have to look for it. I do have it somewhere. But I don't think I ever got an original just defense list. It's now been like stuck together in this big long list of people. But I can't find a just defense list. Found an original prosecution list, but I did not see a just defense list anywhere. They kind of push them all together. So if anybody has just a defense list, I would love to have it, but I don't have it. I haven't seen it. Yep, he didn't look mortally wounded. Yep, and it wasn't snowing like that then. Exactly. I think she knew, like Jen says, because she immediately took steps to sort of cover what was going on. Yeah, 75%. Like, let that stick with you. 75%. Nobody's backing up that fast unless you're really angry, unless you're really upset. Like, we know the RPM, the weight transfer, and the velocity. There was no wheel spin, and she hit something large outside Fairview. Yeah, that's right. The alarms were on when she hit John's car. And again, if you go back and watch that video, her taillight completely clears the car. It's not the taillight at all that even touches John's car at all. Like, yeah, that's how I found out I was Congolese. And actually, it was 23andMe. My mother was adopted, and I was looking for medical information because of my daughter's rare disease and to find some of my mother's biological family. And so that's how I found out that I had any Congolesian in me at all. So it is. It absolutely is. A lot of things I feel like haven't really been said enough, you know? Like, well, they got more evidence this time. They get more from the chip on, chip off this time around than they had the last time. The defense expert missed some of the data from her car. Also, her own statements we didn't have in the first trial that she has made thus far that contradict the defense's theory and story. So those are all pieces of evidence that didn't exist in the first trial, right? And also, they didn't get a casting of the dog's paw or mouth in the first trial. They have that now as well. So, I mean, they have it now. Does it? I mean, some of it didn't exist when the first trial happened. Yep. You can calculate the imparted force based on the mile per hour drop incurred when Karen hit John with her SUV, with her Lexus, of course. Yeah, that. She was clearly not happy screaming, "John, I fucking hate you." Like, she was clearly very angry, screaming that he's a pervert. You know, 0.06 is the number. That works out to be an object between 100 and 300 pounds. Thank you, Maestro, as always. Kings said, in a partial impact, the objects involved never obtain the same velocity as a full impact. Therefore, the energy transferred to the person struck is much less than if they were struck full on at 24. Yep. like I said, we have people who literally do this and are in this field and have vast knowledge. We have some very, very intelligent people in my community, very intelligent people. We have retired law enforcement, we have retired British services, we have lawyers, we have doctors, we have nurses, we have physics people, we have tech people. I pride the fact that we have some very intelligent, smart people in this community. Thank you, Allie. Her Lexus does have a reverse camera. Whether we will see anything is to remain seen. Where what? When did the Commonwealth admit that magically there's no evidence that he was medically hit? I mean, what? Like, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The medical examiner said that it could have happened, that there were so many things that could have happened. She's the medical examiner. It's not her job to determine what exact thing happened. It's her job to determine whether it's an accident, whether it's a homicide, or undetermined. And she could not determine by the injuries because there was too many variations of what could have happened. They don't get all the evidence. Medical examiners don't get handed all of the evidence to make a determination. They use medical and his injuries to make that determination. Like, Freak said, the microscopic taillight fragments found in John's clothing, the touch DNA found in the taillight housing, the DNA from the hair found on the rear quarter panel, held there by snow and ice. Exactly. Eva said she first said she waited a couple of minutes in the ID documentary. She said she waited 10 minutes. It's ever changing. Truth doesn't change. No, it doesn't. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry, I needed a bathroom break. I drank too much coffee. But I like my coffee. You do not have coffee. All right. The backup camera is behind her vehicle. Oh no. I was on mess for puking from my kids. I can't do puke. I literally can't. The smell of puke makes me want to puke. Like, yeah, that's another thing. Arca lied, and we were told by the judge that Arca lied. So, you know, it's really not that hard to figure out that, like, they're compromised. They also did not have all of the information or the evidence. And clearly, any smart person that would do any sort of calculations to come to a conclusion, if those calculations were not correct or they had other calculations they needed to bring into it, then guess what? Then they couldn't give you the proper information to make sure that they were giving you the proper conclusion or answer, you know? Joan said that she believes she went back to the scene. Interesting that she said she took a piece of glass from his nose. Yeah, it is interesting. Whether she actually did or not, well, we don't know. But that's what she claims, right? She also claims that John took her glass before he got out of the car, which would make sense. Now that they know that, they can go back and match her glass and his glass to the glasses from the bars. So, and that we knew John's weight, so you can work out like the angle of the impact, you know? Wonder if Karen Reed supports will change their opinion if there is evidence from her Lexus showing she backed up and striked John O'Keefe. You know, I don't have a ton of, sort of hope that some of these people will change their mind with pieces of evidence. I feel like plenty of people who already changed their mind did it with the pieces of evidence, and I don't feel like even if you showed it to them in a video, I don't think that they would believe you. They would say it's AI, they would say it's fake, they would say all sorts of things like, well, we don't know if her car took a video. Sometimes it will take a video 3 seconds or before or after a strike. But then again, because she didn't hit like a pole or a car, the car may not have registered it as a camera triggering event. So because no airbags deployed, obviously, like I don't know if it would have been hard enough to do that, but we don't know. We don't know if they have a backup cam video or if they don't have a backup cam video. If they do, I mean, that is very, very bad. Even if they don't, though, they still have all the rest of the data from the car. So, I mean, that's already going to be very, very bad for her, you know? Well, that's if, right? If a video was recorded and if it wasn't already removed. We would see it out of the, I don't think you can delete it though. It would be in the infotainment system, right? Or the EDR. Mostly the infotainment system, but not all backup. Yeah, not all backup cameras record. I think with her model Lexus, there was a backup cam, but not sure if it recorded or not. And also, like I said, it might not have been because she didn't hit like a pole or a car. The car might not have triggered it to record because it wasn't like a pole or a car. You know what I mean? I did not know that, but it wouldn't shock me. That's for sure. Like, well, yeah, she had 2 ways that she could decide it. It's not her job to decide exactly what happened or exactly what didn't. It's her job to decide of the many things that could have happened, whether she could narrow it down or whether she couldn't. If she can't, then it's undetermined, which is what she did. Undetermined. You know what I mean? Like, TechStream only captures stills from the backup camera, and they're normally useless. That sucks. That sucks. And that's even if they took the stills, right? Like, like when Hank came to the podium and spoke of monetary inducements and then produced the evidence of collusion between the defense and ARCA, that was chef's kiss. It was. It was. It absolutely was. It showed they did not tell the court they were going to pay them. It doesn't matter when they did. They knew they were going to, and they lied to the court. And there's emails and evidence of that. Like, all happened in court in front of the public. It's not something anybody can deny. You know what I mean? That's a fact. It's an absolute fact. Like, well, that's the thing, right? Like, I try not to judge anybody based on their past, because if I did that, then I'd need to judge myself, right? Like, I mean, people change, they grow, they get older, they learn lessons. I was a very lost person in my early age, early adulthood. I was a very lost and broken person from all the abuse, and I just didn't care whether I lived or died at that point. People grow, they learn, they become better people. At least some people do, not all, but some. You have to believe that people change at least sometimes, and I don't tend to base my like or dislike of someone based on something they did or didn't do, 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, or a mistake they made. But it would not surprise me if Meredith did, because she's got a lot to say about everybody else, though. That's for sure. It absolutely could potentially be a completely different outcome. That's what's so interesting about it, I feel like, is all of the different things that we have now that didn't happen before, or we didn't have before. Like, we didn't have some of this data before. We didn't have all the statements Karen made, all the new interviews she did, that ID discovery. We didn't have some of the interviews with Gretchen Voss. Those are going to be killers, because those were the first interviews she did right after it happened. So, you would think your mind would be fresher then than it is now. So the ever-changing stories are really not going to be good, Well, that's the thing. He wouldn't have been bleeding 5 hours later because when they found him at 6 something, he had no signs of life as we know now. He had no pulse. He wasn't breathing. They tried life-saving measures, but he wouldn't have been bleeding. That's the point, is he wouldn't have been. So if she did pull a piece of glass from his nose, it wasn't at 6 in the morning. And as we know it, Carrie is the one who uncovered his face from the snow. So when did she pull a piece of glass from his nose? Exactly. Carrie's the one that did CPR. So, exactly. Not consistent doesn't have to mean it didn't happen. It just means it's not typical. Well, that got to be pretty good if there's that much data altogether of the car, right? Like, Mark said, I think an important incriminating piece of evidence as a John had grass underneath him. Yeah, it is. I've talked about that a lot, and not snow. He didn't have inches of snow underneath him. He had grass and dirt underneath him. Like, he had been there clearly for a long time. You know what I mean? Clearly it didn't happen at 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning. Clearly he was there from about the time that his phone stopped moving until they found him. Clearly. Like, exactly. If she made a determination, she can't, if it's undetermined, then she can't say he wasn't hit by a car. See how that works? Undetermined means undetermined. She absolutely did not say he wasn't hit by a car. She absolutely said that that was possible. She was questioned on that in the last trial. Jackson made the smart ass comment to Trooper Paul. So you're telling me he did a pirouette and he flew 30 feet in the air, in which Trooper Paul say, I didn't say he flew in the air. Yeah, I know. That's why I always say, like, nobody said he flew, because they've said nobody said he flew. Like, that voicemail, that one's going to be important. I feel like if they can transcribe, if she says, John, was that you or is that you? Like, the voicemail was anywhere near Fairview, she is screwed hard. Yeah, 100 real. Once again, who said he traveled 30 feet? You're the only one claiming that he went 30 feet. Like, yeah, especially if it's via Bluetooth. That's where we'll get the data. That's where we'll get the data. Like, Brittany said, this trial has more facts and much better prosecutor that I think will streamline it. I also think he's pretty good at sort of nailing down pieces of evidence and making that sort of timeline stick in your brain, and they're going to use a lot more visuals this time, which is super important with a jury. Not everybody learns the same way, right? Like, my husband is very hands-on. Like, he wants to get his hands dirty and figure out how to put it together and take it apart. I want to read the directions first, right? Like, he's like, fuck the directions. Like, I can figure this out myself. I want to read the directions. I need to read it first to know how to do it, right? So not everybody learns in the same way. Some people need visuals to learn, right? And some people can just remember it, right? It's told to them and they remember it. They need to take notes. That's why juries are allowed to take notes. I'm a note taker, okay? I like to take notes too. So I can refer back to them if there's something that I don't remember. And I think it's smart of Hank to ask for a bigger screen so that the jury can see all of this stuff that they didn't actually get to see before. I think there's a lot more, not just visuals, but like charts and demonstrations this time than there was last time. And these are things that the jury is going to remember. It's going to stick in their brain. And that's exactly what you want, Yeah, the final one, you can hear she is off the Bluetooth, so the ones before that will be there, Maestro said. Oh, Mark, you can say that again. The Boston media, they treat her like she's a Hollywood movie star. It's disgusting because they also refuse to sort of take in all of the things that have happened to the witnesses and the family and anybody who supports them. They refuse to do that story. They don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. And I start to wonder why the mainstream media wouldn't want to cover that part of the story. Are you all afraid the blogger is going to blog about you? Because isn't that your job as media, is to do stories? And this is part of the story, probably the worst part of the story of all the people's lives who have been affected by this. It's utterly disgusting. I know I'm behind in the comments by like a lot. So let me try to skip some of these. Yeah, exactly. They asked her one tough question about the taillight. Like, hold on. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Maestro. I am waiting for the auto data. Zep said the first investigation seemed so poorly done that provided enough reason or doubt for a not guilty. OT said, why did Jen say they had turned John over? She said that so they had thought about it. Carrie said they had thought about trying to turn him over. But that Carrie started doing CPR. So I don't think they did end up turning him over, but Karen was trying to get his phone out of his pocket. So she definitely tried to tip him at least to get the phone out of his pocket. I heard Brennan talking about the Bluetooth. John's phone disconnected at 12:30, but I missed the seatbelt. Yeah, that was in a hearing. It was, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 hearings ago before they started jury selection. Maybe someone else knows exactly which one it was, but I remember hearing it and going, oh shit, now they know what time he took his seatbelt off. Like, you know? I don't think so, Rhonda. Unfortunately, I just don't think so. I just don't. I was actually just saying to my daughter, like, we need to get you on as a co-host, even if you don't want to use your video. She's very, she's got she just had surgery on both arms and still open wounds. And so I'm like, even if you don't want to use video, because I think you guys would enjoy how smart she is, just like her mom. She's very smart and a little sarcastic like me, but you guys would love her. Yeah, exactly. The only one who mentioned that was the only person who ever said anything about 30 feet was Jackson. Like, yeah, that's the thing. It was the defense expert that screwed up that. And Trooper Paul said he didn't fly in the air. Like, no worry, Potluck. It was during Flammati's testimony. Yeah, they merged the lists. Bill Reed was on the witness list. Hey, Anna. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm going to skip some of these so I can try to catch up in your comments. I think we can safely say that, too. 9 voted to convict on count 2 last time with less data and Lally as prosecutor. I agree, Brittany. And Joan said, plus didn't Celebrate have to update their software. They did, but that was so that people like Richard Green didn't read it incorrectly again. It wasn't because the data wasn't there. It was because people like Richard, they didn't want somebody to make the mistake that Richard Green made. And that hurt a lot of people the way he misread the data. And they didn't want that to happen ever again, Ugh. Ditto, Mark. I think a lot of us can't. Him and Karen have hurt so many innocent people and continue to do it. They just don't give a shit. The magical DNA-free dog. Exactly, Anna. Exactly. Yeah, I love how they're doing that as well, Leon, with Higgins is a suspect. He's not the one who reached out to Karen, by the way. Karen took his phone number out of John's phone to contact Higgins. So it's like, what motive does he have? He's not the one who contacted Karen. He wasn't that interested to contact Karen. She contacted him. Remember that. Like, Trooper Garino. Unfortunately, Trooper Garino was actually hit by a car, I think, or something. Or got in a car accident, something like that. Poor guy. I believe it was Trooper Garino, yeah. Brennan gets to dig at the data and suddenly he can get the phone temp. Someone missed that first go around. Yeah. And obviously we know it was the defense experts because they're the ones who handled the data the first time. Coffee time. OT said, I'm neutral about this case. However, why all of the prosecution witnesses panicked and seemed nervous during their testimony? I don't think that they seemed panicked or nervous. I think they seemed upset because someone is accusing them of hurting someone they care about and they've been dragged through the mud for 2 years and harassed relentlessly. I don't think they seemed panicked at all or nervous, not for nothing, but I'd be nervous if I was testifying in front of the person that hurt someone that I care about and their family. I'm under a lot of pressure, if sitting in that chair, anybody would be. Put yourself in their shoes, like you got to think about that for a second. Like there's nothing panicked or nervous about them. Like, I mean, I'd be a little nervous. I don't know about panicked. That's kind of a strong word. I don't think any of them seemed panicked. Not even the jury said that. Jury found them all to be very credible. I guess that's true, Sunken Grave. I didn't even actually think about that. I mean, does live chat actually help the algorithm? I thought it was only like comments after it's not live anymore. But if that's the case, hey, thanks. But yeah, they've been relentlessly harassed. Relentlessly. The things that have been done to them, believe me, because I've had some of it happen to me. And it isn't cool for anybody to have to deal with. Like, she did spend the day. They were already fighting. Remember that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she was like, oh, I'm going to go get a drink. He was like, you don't need to announce you're going to get a drink. Like, if you're going to get a drink, go do it. Like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I can't do the smell of puke. It makes me want to puke. Literally. Like, that's another thing. Like, in the media box, like, making faces at them, like basically, haha, I have disrupted your fucking lives and made people think you're murderers. And I'm going to sit here and gloat about it. Like, I would want to punch his face in. Like, they did answer every single question with confidence. What didn't they answer with confidence? I mean, they don't have any idea what ridiculous questions the defense is going to ask them. They could be asking them off the cuff questions that have nothing to do with anything and things that didn't happen. Again, conspiracy theories. And then you're like, what? Like, you have to think about that. They have no idea what ridiculous questions the defense is about to ask them, especially of things that didn't happen. So how do you answer something that didn't happen? You know what I mean? The first thing you would think for yourself is, what? Like, what? And also, let's not remember that AJ was extremely hostile with some of these people. Like, right? Like, come on, man. Like, you don't think you'd be a little nervous? I mean, I would be. Shit. And I've spoken in front of audiences. I'm not afraid to speak in front of audiences. I'm not afraid of public speaking. I was a dancer for almost 10 years. I'm not afraid of dancing in front of people and huge audiences of people. So, but that I would be extremely nervous. I'd be nervous if I was a juror. Like, that's true. Probably. I mean, Carrie, you'd probably need to call Carrie too, though, because she was there in the car with Karen. So you'd probably need to call Carrie, but she also wasn't in the house. So, I mean, I have people literally saying things like, Chris Albert had something to do with it. Chris Albert wasn't even at the house that night, you absolute fucking idiots. Chris Albert went home after the bar. He wasn't even in Fairview. So how did Chris have anything to do with anything? Like, these are the things that people are saying without actually doing research. Like, in their brain, it makes sense because a mob member or sewer turtle member said something like along those lines. Like, the dude wasn't even anywhere near there. Somebody said like, Chris Albert, blah, blah, blah. He was there. I go, Chris Albert wasn't even at at Fairview. You fucking absolute geniuses. Like, let's not be silly. Let's think about that for a second, like, but they did. They're not allowed. Do you realize they're not allowed to just say whatever they want? They have to answer the question that is being asked of them. And they're told to use like the shortest answers they can reasonably. Like, that's what they're told to do. That's the problem with people not knowing, like how things work, is that they don't also realize that some of these things are like things that they're not allowed to just say whatever they want and just defend themselves. Like, they're only allowed to answer the questions they're being asked, and they are told to keep the answers as short as they possibly can. Like, so they don't have the opportunity to just defend themselves. And also, how do you defend yourself against things that didn't happen? Well, a defense attorney is asking you questions about things that never existed and never happened. Like, how do you defend yourself against that? Other than saying, yeah, that didn't happen, and no, that didn't happen. Like, you still have to answer their ridiculous questions, you know? Yeah, even if she admitted it, I don't think there are people that would believe it. If she took a plea deal, there are people that I don't think would believe it, you know? And in order to take a plea, she'd have to admit to some facts. Like, I wish, you know, that would be amazing. They do have the ring guy coming to sort of testify, and I wonder what he's going to say. I wonder if he's going to be able to say when any videos were deleted, you know? Yeah, no, I agree definitely of that. Yeah, so I mean, Anna right here, she's a real victim, and she can literally tell you. Like, she can literally tell you. Like, it is a scary thing. Like, well, we know she'll never take the stand. But can you believe science and physics coming from a ARCA that clearly was not only paid, but that lied and then wasn't given all? Would you expect that if a prosecution witness was purposely not given very important data, especially data that they were a supposed expert in, would you then discredit that witness if it was a prosecution witness? Because I believe you would. You would say, okay, the prosecution just brought a witness in here and they weren't given all of the data, especially the text stream data, which they're saying they're experts in. That's the one thing they're supposed to be experts in, is that text stream data. They weren't given the text stream data. They had no idea the taillight was found because they didn't know what temperature it was outside, the wind. They didn't, like, none of that was known to them. None of it. They were tasked with answering only 2 questions. 2. Neither of which was John hit by the back of the car, which Dr. Rentschler absolutely said could have happened. So, I mean, even if ARCA was a prosecution witness and they got on that stand and said they were not given, they admitted to not being given all this data, and they were told that they're not allowed to look into anything else, and that they were only tasked with answering the 2 questions, like, they're not credible to me now. Whether they're a defense witness or a prosecution witness, if you do not have all the data to make that determination, and then you say you wouldn't have changed your determination if you were given that data, how do you know? You don't even know what's in the text stream data. To me, that's a problem. Whether you're a prosecution witness or a defense witness, any witness that doesn't have the proper information, especially in something that they're experts in, purposely not given to them, I don't find that credible. I don't give a shit what side you're testifying for. If they have a prosecution witness that magically wasn't given all the data in this trial, I'm going to say the same thing. I don't find that credible. If you weren't given all of it, you weren't given all of it for a reason. Like, I don't either, Joan. I think that's exactly what happens is they get sanctions after this trial. I just feel like that's what's going to happen. Like, oh, thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Go for it, my friend. Thank you, Hard Star. Well, yeah, their behavior isn't science or physics. They're, been harassed for a really long time. Like, a really long time. I know, right? I still feel like that's the best name we have for the clock, guys. What do you think? Patience? I feel like that's like the best name that we have thus far for the clock. Like, I do think Karen is a pathological liar. Like, I feel like even if she gets 20, she'll probably get the possibility of parole. I don't think she should have it, but I do feel like she would get it. Like, oh yeah, honestly, I do think that, yeah, that's another thing. Karen tried to tell people she was the only one trying to save John's life. Carrie's the one who provided CPR, by the way. We all know that now. Like, and yeah, exactly. And if they want to claim he wasn't out there for that long, then how do you explain Jen's Google search that they clearly keep saying happened, which was debunked multiple times, right? That's a good name for the clock, right? I don't know. I can't remember. Did she? But that's another thing. Raccoon eyes is a very well known in the medical community from a head strike. It's not something new. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I feel like the judge is definitely going to throw the book at her if she's found guilty. I make no qualms about saying I think that absolutely will happen. Um, you know, we like learning. Learning's good. I'm one of those people that likes to suck up information. So you're probably like me, who like to suck up information, you know? But I mean, I will point out that, they're witnesses. There is no evidence that these witnesses did anything wrong. And I've met some of them personally. And, I can't say how much like some of these people are just decent, everyday working people. And it's amazing to me, like the shit that they have been through, like the shit that's been done to them. Some of you guys don't even know some of the shit, and it's pretty bad. Like, it's pretty bad. I mean, she could have. And if that data shows, even in a least bit, even if she connected to, her Bluetooth, made a call, whatever, that she went back there, that car GPS shows she went back there. She's done. Like, posting self-juror. I have to check that out. Exactly. It's got to be intimidating. And absolutely. I mean, I was on the stand when I was 12, and there wasn't a lot of people in the room because I was a minor at the time. So like they make everybody sort of leave that isn't part of it when you have a minor. But I'll tell you, it was a little scary first getting up there until the lawyer annoyed me by asking the same thing over and over, but in different words, trying to like catch me up. And I'm like, I just answered that. Like, I already answered this. Like, that was a little annoying. I'm not going to lie. So I got a little annoyed with him. Like, why are you asking me the same thing over and over? It doesn't make any sense. Like, she has changed her story. Yes. Multitude of times. Multitude. Like, I mean, the truth doesn't change, as we know, folks, like the court, they can't make a transcript of the voicemails because that would influence the jury. You understand what you understand. Oh, damn it. I really want that. Not that I want them to make a transcript, but I was hoping that like one of us could like pull the audio and like slow it down and maybe figure out what it is that she said. You know what I mean? Not that the court could, but that maybe one of us could, because it's, exactly, you hear what you hear kind of. And I just want to like pin down exactly what it is that she said. Like, all right, hold on. I'm going to skip past a couple of these because I'm still like 10 minutes behind. Hold on. Oh, he's probably definitely fuming. Nope, not if they start as we know, the whatchamajiggots, if they start those. Thank you, Jezebel. Little fist in a beating desk. I'm scary. I'm so scary. Hello, my darling. Well, that's part of the problem. Like, oh, thank you, MYB. I appreciate that. I hope to see most of you here. Thank you, Christina. I saw that. I'll listen to it after. Thank you so much for sending it to me. I always appreciate when you guys send that stuff to me that I don't have. Just trying to skip past some of these to get to the bottom. Yeah, it is pretty despicable, Allie. That's for sure. It's pretty despicable. I have. The problem with it is it leaks. It, like, if you sweat or it rains, like, it just drips down your forehead. The color does. And especially since my hair is black, like, it's not a good look. Nope, not after opening statement starts. He is not allowed in the court, We have some. We have some. We have, well, Jesse and Nair. They're both here. Let's see. Yep, he's got to be sequestered because he's a witness. At least the witness has testified multiple times. That's the thing. They've testified a couple times now in front of a grand jury. So it's No, she's talking about my hair because I was talking about it earlier in the show. She's probably on like replay. She's a friendly Bree. She's a friendly. We have people that come in and like troll, and then these are the first things that they say, like, oh, what's with the lashes? Like, oh, she's a friendly Bree. She's a friendly. She's my adopted mommy. She's very protective of me, and I love that about her. Like, oh, thank you, Sunken Grave. I do too. I love my chat. You guys are amazing. You guys are so smart. Like, oh, I did actually in the last Brian Koberger thing. Did you guys also hear that they're doing a resentencing on the Menendez brothers? They're doing a resentencing, even though the new DA is like against it, you know? Let's see. Yeah, she's a friendly. Ceasefire, Bree. She's a friendly. I try to be fair. I try to be fair, but it gets to be too much when we're just saying things that aren't true. Nobody said he went 30 feet. Nobody said he flew through the air. Those are just like false statements completely. Like we're not here to spread misinformation. Those things are not things that have ever been said other than from Jackson making a snarky comment about it. But I do think patience is good for the clock. I'm not going to lie. I know, right? I think it's so funny when people say like twisted and they're using it in a different like context, because I'm so used to people calling me that in different chats and stuff, like twisted, or they shorten it to TT, which it's actually cute. Because the way I got my name for my channel is actually a funny story. I actually meant to go look the other day, Sunken Grave, to see when he goes back in front of the board, because I want to cover that. Like, oh, we lost one over the weekend. No good. Doesn't shock me though. And that's why I think they need more jurors, you know? Oh, Cleo girl, listen. It blows my ever-loving mind. Literally blows my mind. Okay? I don't understand it. Like, I try to stick to just the facts. You know, I give my opinion too, but I try to stick to the facts that are verifiable, you know, especially when it comes to this case. Like, oh, yeah, she lied. Well, we know she lied. Her inconsistent statements, we know that she lied about texting him while she was out front. She did no such thing. She was not there while she was texting him. We know that as a fact. So there's a multitude of things that she's lied about. We know this. If I think they do, the defense has all this data that shows she went back there, what kind of a defense can they show? Well, they'll just ignore those things. You know what I mean? They'll just ignore those things. And if the Commonwealth brings those things up, they'll just keep harping on a bad investigation. They don't really have a way to like defend the data other than being like, well, could it have been tampered with, and could it have been this, like implying it but not saying it, because they can't just say, oh, it was tampered with, because their expert was there. You know what I'm saying? So all they can do is imply it was a bad investigation and nothing should be listened to, which is just not going to work for them. It didn't work the first time. It's not going to work this time. Like, yeah, she's doing a great job of just, you know, making up shit. Like, and she has lost a bunch of support with the ID discovery thing, now the OJ thing, you know. Ooh, interesting. Hold on, let's check. Hold on 1 second. I find you very nice, Sepp. Okay, hold on. Christina Rex reporting a previous juror likely picked from last week is back up at the sidebar. Ooh, that's not good. Interesting. It is sometimes difficult to see friendly fire. But Jezebel is a friendly. She is a friendly. Ceasefire, y'all. Ceasefire. I do love the way you guys protect me, though. I appreciate it more than you guys know. So let me check for Sunny's tweet here that we're being told to go look at. Also, while I do that, in the meantime, if you could give it a like, a subscribe. We've been here 3 hours, 5 minutes. If you want to donate to the channel, that is the way that my channel survives. We only rely on donations from our viewers. to survive over here. So that's the way that we cover costs associated with streaming and the only way that I make any income. So if you'd like to make a donation, you could do so on PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App. This big thing I'm going to pull down, but at the bottom, and I'll be more specific this time because Mark pointed out, of the screen you're watching. See this screen right here that I'm on, that you can see me on? At the bottom of this one, boop, there's a little ticker at the bottom of the stream, and it tells you where you can donate to the channel. I will check for them, any other donations, and read them. I'm not looking like I'm seeing anything right now, but I'll try to update as we go. There's 443 people watching, so a like does a huge thing for the channel. I very much appreciate it. So I'm not seeing any other donations I need to read right now, just the one from Mark, and I appreciate you, Mark. Thank you so much for that. All right, let's get Sunny's. Hold on. Let me get Sunny's thing and I'll pull that down. Can only do one thing at a time here. I'm trying to do 500 things, of course, at a time per usual, but I can only do so many. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Is this it? No. Oh, we got to get to the top of her thing, I think, right? Is this the last thing she posted? Not the pinned thing. Alert. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Good job, Sunny. Good freaking job. Hold on. Hank's cufflinks, right? Could they have superpowers? Superpower. All right, let's get this here. Let me pull down. See, this is when I wish I had two screens to work with because I have to go back and forth and it's kind of obnoxious. I'm not going to lie, but all right. So we'll pull this up here. And then I got to look at this so that I can't see the chat right now, just so you guys know. So Sunny said, alert, stealth juror, friend of Nicole Hoban, accounting and propagandist, innocence fraudster, Melanie Little's chat. And so we're going to back this up a little. 56 seconds.
Your stealth juror.
Let's pull it up. All right, ready, guys? I'm going to watch this real quick. Cannot see chat right now, just so you guys know.
Folks.
Your BFF is in the pool this morning. In the pool? Like the swimming pool or in the media pool? And if it's the media pool, tell me who it is so that I can, if they're live tweeting, let me know who we could be following, Nicole. Thank you so much, Nicole. Whole band accounting. I'm guessing she's a CPA. Yeah, Turtle Boy does like me. I know. I had to segue into the mean tweets. Emails that people send me like, why are you sending me that? I don't want to see that.
She's trying to downplay it.
Oh, in the juror pool. Oh, in the juror pool. That's interesting, Nicole. Oh, Nicole, you probably should not be here in the chat talking about that. Because do you guys remember during was it the Maya trial? Wait, no, it was the Ashley Benefield trial. Somebody was in a chat, like Law and Crime, saying, my sister's on the jury.
These people are incessant.
Yeah.
It is scary what they are doing to our American justice system. This is a fucking joke to you guys. A Boston police officer is dead. Listen to the evidence.
That's it.
Other stealth juror, folks.
Your BFF is in the pool this morning. In the pool? Like the swimming pool or in the media pool? And if it's the media pool, tell me who it is so that I can, if they're live tweeting, let me know who we could be following, Nicole. Thank you so much, Nicole. Whole band accounting. I'm guessing she's a CPA. Yeah, Turtle Boy does like me. I know. I had to segue into the mean tweets, emails that people send me like, why are you sending me that? I don't want to see that. Oh, in the juror pool. Oh, in the juror pool. That's interesting, Nicole. Oh, Nicole, you probably should not be here in the chat talking about that. Because do you guys remember during was it the Maya trial? Wait, no, it was the Ashley Benefield trial. Somebody was in a chat, like Law and Crime, saying, my sister's on the jury.
These people are incessant.
Yeah.
It is scary what they are doing to our American justice system. This is a fucking joke to you guys.
It is to them.
A Boston police officer is dead. Listen to the evidence.
I can't. Like, that is just so horrible. Oh, and I can't I can't either with Melanie Little, like not only her voice, but her like fake facial expressions where she turns her face and does the whole, I can't, I made a meme with Skeletor. I kid you not, I did that. But I mean, come on, man. Like, I mean, everybody uses filters. I have a filter on, but it just covers a little bit of the redness on my face. Like, this is actually how my face looks. I don't have more wrinkles than this, like just these little lines here. You know what I mean? Like hers is like, I don't know. She must be using a filter on a filter. I don't even know. Like, well, I mean, I have no doubt one of them is probably in the jury pool. But now that I promise you, if Sunny found that, it's been reported. So that's been reported to the court. And maybe that's why the other person is back up who was already picked. You don't know. We don't know, like, yeah, I know, right? Potluck. The facts by them. A search that didn't happen. Dog bites that don't exist with no dog DNA, a fight in a basement that couldn't have happened in 4 seconds. Chloe, they say the dog's not alive. Dog's very much alive. How do you think Hank got the impressions from a dead dog? Like, you know what I mean? Come on now. Colin's knuckles that were fine in pictures after John died that don't have any marks on it. So they pick one from a month after or like 5 weeks after and say, oh, look at this. Like they would be freshly looking like that 5 weeks or 4 weeks later. Like, come on, man. Okay. John DePetro is reporting that a judge is going over a printout with a prospective male juror. Ooh, interesting. A juror let go last week shouldn't be allowed back at sidebar. Yeah, that is a little suspicious to me. If they were let go, if they were picked last week, it's one thing. Maybe if they were picked last week, because like you do the voir dire first, and then so then you would go back up if they found something and they have to question you about it. So, I don't know. It could be her side trying to knock off people as well. It's a very real possibility, I'm hearing Wednesday, but I haven't heard any like specific, like, oh, it went from Tuesday to Wednesday. As of right now, opening statements are supposed to be tomorrow, but if they let a juror go over the weekend, that means that they're back to 15. They'd need to get at least 3 today to make 18. And there might be, I don't know, it could be pushed back now to Wednesday or even Thursday. And I don't think there's court Friday because it's Good Friday. So let's hope not. Let's hope that they finish this so that it can start, Although the extra day does give me the extra day to get the pad from a butt, because I'm not going to lie. That's why I squirm so much. I apologize for the squirming. I do squirm a lot. I squirm because my legs, my hips. But I guess, yeah, it does, Jackie, really, depend on what happens today with the rest of the jury right now. Like, so if they're questioning a juror right now with a printout, that's probably not a good sign, Exactly. Meow. It's a cat paw. It's white and pink. Obviously matches this white and pink and this white and pink. And it's a cat paw that goes on your chair. It's so cute. And let's hope it's very cushy. It looks very cushy because I need it. I needs it. And we will, say thank you to the person that bought it off my wish list because my hips need it. My legs need it. The filter does not help. I agree with you. Oh my God. Imagine she just had a poster of all the facial expressions. So she turns to look at which one she needs to do. Like which one makes her the most super chats? Like this one's number 1, this one's number 2. So she just turns and goes, oh, I need to make this one. Like shocked, surprised. Well, they have a new owner. So, I mean, you wouldn't bring a dog into court anyway. I don't think I've ever seen them do that. But the defense is not going to be able to argue that she doesn't exist or they don't know where she is because they were offered to go. Okay. And they chose not to. So according to WCVB, they've dismissed a male juror who was picked last week. Ouch. Probably an FKR, I'm guessing. I know, Hardstar, I was just thinking that same thing, like, oh, this is going to take forever if they keep having to dismiss these people. But you have to remember that it's also a good thing. If they're dismissing these people because they are found out about something, that they were sneaking, like, that's good. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. We want anybody who's been tainted or anybody who knows anything about this and they're lying to bye. See you later. You need an impartial jury, not a jury that like knows about this. Even somebody who thinks that she's guilty. I don't want them on that jury. I don't want somebody who just already thinks she's guilty on that jury. I want a fair and impartial jury because that's what I would want if it was me on trial. And that's what I would want for any of you. Like, you need someone who's never heard anything about this because I do believe that anybody looking at this evidence for the very first time, okay, is easily going to be able to be like, okay, clearly with this data, and this data, that the conspiracy could not have happened. The dog bite thing makes no sense because, as we know, Marie Russell's going to look like a fool on the stand. Arca also going to look like a fool. Richard Green was completely eviscerated the first time around. Like, those three like experts didn't bode well for the jury the first time, and I think it'll be even worse for them the second time. And I can't wait to see Hank cross-examine those specific witnesses. Like, that is going to be the my favorite part of this trial. Like, Sunken said, I think the jury will be tainted, but there will never be an acquittal. I don't think there'll ever be an acquittal. I think if anything, you might get a hung jury again, but I don't think you'll get an acquittal. I do believe, though, if they can get a decent jury this time, that guilty will be no problem, you know? But we want it to, Amber. Maybe if they can get a couple today, they will start tomorrow. Let's think of it in the, good way, where it's possible that if they get the correct amount, that, they could start tomorrow. Like, they can use, what do you mean they can't use a mold? Of course they can use a mold, just like they could use the bite patterns. They had the bite patterns already in the first trial from before John died. Now they have the bite patterns from after John died. So of course you can just use a mold. Why wouldn't you be able to use a mold? You offered the defense to go down and watch you take the mold, right? They videotaped it. So why wouldn't you be able to use the mold? And it's not really evidence. It's more debunking a conspiracy, like, it very well could be the filtering out of them. Why wouldn't you be able to use a mold? They've used molds in many trials. Like, of course they can. Like, you can't bring a live animal into the court just because somebody said the dog could have bitten John. You wouldn't do that. Like, that's not something the court's going to allow. Like, listen, I think I think exactly. I think exactly what Scorpio Moon Girl said, that they're doing their homework, right? It's a good sign. They're being diligent and they're checking on these people. And that is something you want them to be doing. Like, why? Why would you need to see if they reckon? First of all, the dog's been gone to the new owner for a couple years now. Like, so, and also I don't think that they would bring in a witness's old animal. Like, the court would never do that. It doesn't make any sense to do that. And there's no value in seeing whether the dog recognizes, because they're not in the courtroom. The witnesses are not in the courtroom. They're only there when they're on the stand. So you're not going to bring the dog in every time one of them is on the stand. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, they're not sitting in the courtroom. So walking the dog in as evidence the dog's not going to look around and go, who can I see that I know? Like, the witnesses are only there when they're supposed to be testifying on the stand, and then they have to leave. So that doesn't even make any sense. It is definitely better to have extra, that's for sure. And at the rate they've been dismissing them, this is why I said 16 was too short. Like, too short. Way too short. Like, once again, they have bite patterns from the dog from before John died, and now they have them after. So you can say they change over time, but we have them over time. So, and they also have an expert on that. Commonwealth has an expert on that. So just wait for that expert. And yeah, how much would you think that they changed? Because once again, they have the bite patterns from before John ever died on the dog, and now that they have the molds again from after. So we would know what they would have changed as a little bit. Like, so that doesn't even really, I mean, again, they have two different bite patterns. Like, one from before, one from after, from the same dog. So I'm going to guarantee that they match right up. And what they don't match is what's on John. Right? Free Chloe. Poor Chloe, dude. Yeah, even a dog. Like, the only time you're going to see one is when they bring a service animal in that they're allowed to bring in. Seen a dog in court one time. It was for a guy who shot at the cops, and his dog who was hit and survived. Oh, Poor thing. Yeah, normally they don't bring animals into court like that. Usually you might see them if like it's someone's service animal because that dog has a right to be with its owner. I've seen service animals be there for witnesses who've testified with the dog laying next to them. I've seen that, you know. Anybody who underestimates Hank is doing so at their own peril. You know? Doing so at their own peril. Yeah, they do. They use molds all the time. Literally all the time. Speaking of animals in court, did anyone watch the recent slow plow shooting trial where the defendant's daughter testified holding a comfort rabbit? No, that must have been like a emotional support animal, I'm guessing. Like, yes, Miss Super Chimp Self Melanie Little. Yep. Yeah, they have her impressions twice now. So not much, Ash. You didn't miss much. That's correct. They do. Poor Chloe. What do you mean? They had the bite patterns in the first trial. It was presented in the first trial. They had it. They talked about it in the first trial. What do you mean? And once again, because they're still going with this dog theory, Hank went down and said, all right, you're going to keep going with the dog theory? Cool. Now we're going to get, because of course they argued that, well, those impressions were taken before John died. And their mouth here. So Hank said, okay, if that's what you guys are going to argue, cool. He went down to where Chloe is and got the bite impressions from now and one of her paw, if they're going to say that it's a dog scratch as well. So once again, you don't know that you need certain things until somebody brings up some cockamamie nonsense of a conspiracy. Then that's when people are like, all right, you want to bring up that ridiculous conspiracy theory. I'm going to debunk it with real evidence. And then you go and get something that will debunk it. It's kind of how it works. You can't debunk something that hasn't been brought up yet, right? Like you wouldn't know to. Old bite patterns were part of the testimony. They were in the trial last time. Yeah, and she still does have a bottom jaw. Once a dog is fully grown, the only changes in their teeth is from breaks or extractions, but they don't suddenly widen out at age 5 or something. It was part of the testimony, like Bree said. Yeah, exactly. They don't get braces, spacers. Well, there's also like things like microchips, things like of that nature to prove things like that. You know what I mean? We all know, exactly. We all know they're not dog bites. They're not dog scratches. Like, come on, dude. That's what I'm saying. There's a new cockamamie claim, so then they have to debunk it. You know what I mean? You wouldn't know you'd need that. Like, right? Enter Hank. And now Jackson doesn't look so confident. He looks kind of afraid, and he should be. There was no mold the first time. They got the mold this second time around. They had bite patterns. So they talked about the bite patterns. It was in the trial that they had, and that asked Dr. Russell, I believe, if she was given that to see if the bite patterns matched, and she was not given that. Like, why does each side ask witnesses if they have been prepped for testimony? Because what they're trying to draw out is whether one side or the other. It is standard practice, but they're trying to draw out whether the attorney told them to say certain things or not, because you can't do that as an attorney. That's telling people to lie. So they're trying to draw out whether the defense wrote their report or told them to lie, because if they did help write their report, that's a no-no. You cannot do that. So they have to do it independently. So for instance, if Alessi helped write someone's report and they get on the stand, they get asked and they lie, and it's found out that they lied, that's a big no-no. Oh yeah, they were very uncomfortable with the fact that he got those impressions. Very uncomfortable, as they should be. As they should be. Like, you know? They had bite patterns from the dog from when the dog got in a fight with another dog. and a lady got bit pulling the dogs apart, and she didn't know whether it was her dog or Chloe that bit her because she was trying to pull them apart. So she doesn't even know which dog bit her. So at that point, they took the bite impressions of Chloe then. And then Brennan went back again. This is before John died. So after the first trial, the defense came up with this ridiculous theory that the dog's mouth could have changed over time. So the first bite patterns, whatever. So Hank said, all right, you guys gonna play that game? He went down there. He got the new molds, the second bite pattern molds, and a mold of the paw. If that answers your question. Well, no. The way his arms are, like, dogs have in order for a dog to latch on, right? The bottom teeth would have to make contact. There is no bottom jaw marks of any kind that would match a dog bite. And also there's no punctures. Like, so then they go to, oh, well, maybe it's a dog scratch and not a dog bite, right? Well, the scratches or abrasions are not deep enough to have been that. So once again, the defense took the pictures from John's autopsy and they darkened the injuries on John's arm, the abrasions. They darkened them. They took a little video out. So when they showed this big picture, they had darkened them to make them look deeper. So they altered the picture to go by what they wanted people to believe, which is just ridiculous. But you need bottom teeth to bite. There's also no puncture wounds. And also, John was wearing 2 layers of clothing. There's no dog DNA anywhere. None. In order for a dog to have bitten you, there would need to be dog DNA. It would be present. Right? It would be cool Easter eggs. Oh, I don't even want to think about Easter. I have to do Easter shopping still. I still got to get some more candy for some of the eggs. Yeah, they need the pressure. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. The pressure has to be applied for them to even be able to do that. You know what I mean? But the Commonwealth, though, Stella, has an expert that's going to speak on all that. So I think that's an expert that you'll find very interesting. That's going to talk about why it's not dog bites or scratches, you know? Oh, Sunken Grave. That's hilarious. I mean, Hank's fascinating. I just definitely want to pick his brain. Like his like attention to detail and the way he cross-examines is like just the way I would do it. You know what I mean? Like I think that's why I'm so fascinated with like what he thinks about the law in his like legal brain, you know? Like I can't. Yeah, Nan also told people with her legal experience that the Supreme Court had taken Karen's case when they denied her stay. And they didn't take her case. They put her on conference list, which is pretty standard. And then next is with the like talk about list, basically. And only one justice needs to think that there might be a legal issue there to put you on the talk about list. She's not been put on that list. The Supreme Court has not taken her case, nor will they take it, because there's no legal argument here that is not clear already in precedent in law. So it's very clear. So they're not going to take her case. But for Nan's legal experience that she touts, you would think that someone like that would know how the Supreme Court works. Apparently not. Like, what do you mean? You don't need pressure. How would you cause any marks or scratches without any pressure? Like, how does it make any marks with no pressure? There's no bite marks. There's no puncture wounds. There's no dog DNA. The patterns on John do not match Chloe's mouth. Not even in the least bit. So how would that be possible? You know what I mean? Hey, that's actually a good everybody Do that. Everybody try that and see how that works. You need pressure. You need pressure. Latched on, you would cause puncture wounds, though. So again, once again, you still need pressure to make a mark. If I do this, does it cause anything? No pressure? No, you need pressure. You need pressure. Who was Dan? A FKR attorney that came out of the woodwork that just donates hundreds and hundreds of dollars to all the FKR creators to get in with Karen. Like, equal pressure. Yep. Paw scratched. How big is Chloe? Well, she's smaller than a male German Shepherd, but they're not paw scratches either. Once again, that's why the molds were done. Does not match. Not even close. Like, yeah, it is part of their publicity stunt, as we know. Like, no. Once again, where's the bottom jaw? If you're pulling up and away, that means they're applying pressure that you would have to pull up and away, right? In order to pull up and away, there'd have to be some pressure that you're pulling against. Listen, I'm being normal and civil. Two new motions on the docket this morning, Eva said. Gretchen Voss challenges sequestration and Commonwealth files to use defendant statements in the media against her. Oh, the OJ one. I guarantee that's why. They want the OJ comment. They want the OJ comment. Well, that's true. Occam's razor, right? Fewest assumptions, the most, thing that is right there. Like maybe Karen backed into him drunk instead of a vast conspiracy. You know what I mean? Like, Dr. Russell claimed Chloe put puncture wounds in his shirt. Yeah, she did. And even the judge was like, puncture wounds in his shirt? Like, if Chloe put a puncture wound in his shirt, then John would have definitely had puncture wounds in his arm. That's correct. He would have. That's why the judge was like, puncture wounds in his shirt. Like, I heard she was enabling Will too, which is no good. I bet that's exactly what they're looking for, is that OJ comment, because they've already motioned to get all the rest of them. So the only motion you would put in now is something for something new that was said, right? So I'm guessing that's it, right? Like, that's got to be what they want to use, the last couple statements that she made to the public from the media. So, I mean, hence why Hank didn't put a whatchamacallit, a gag, didn't want a gag on her, only on her attorneys, because she can just keep talking. He doesn't care. It's not helping her any, you know what I mean? So I can't blame Hank in that aspect. That's pretty cool, if you ask me, you know? Once again, you have to apply pressure. A dog's teeth are not the same as humans' teeth. They would cause puncture wounds. All right, let's see. All right. It is, let me just check something else real quick. It's 12:34. We're 3 hours and 34 minutes into this. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up because I'm hungry and I would like to eat lunch. I am starving like a freaking hostage. There's 459 of you, plenty watching from the bushes. So if y'all could give a like and a subscribe, I would appreciate it. I do hope that, like Zep said, a verdict is reached based on the evidence presented. Let's get this shit done and over with, you know? Like, the pizza was delicious, Christy. It was delicious. Tasted like pepperoni and onion pizza, because that's what I ordered. And justice for John, you know? Like, yeah, everybody do enjoy the very beautiful day that it is outside today, you know? Let's enjoy the beautiful day. But the pizza was delicious. Thank you very much. I think most people that have eaten there, even Karen, enjoy their food, as Karen wanted to go there that night and get food. She had eaten there before. So even Karen liked their food. So I find it funny that anybody has anything to say about D&E's food, because Karen herself liked their food. She'll forget that, right? Because she doesn't like them anymore. So magically it means that their food is bad. So irrational. It's not even funny. So irrational. But we're going to wrap this up. I love all your stinking faces. If you would kindly like and subscribe for the channel, make sure you put the button that says share, and share to people who don't know that we exist yet. We have a great group, Zep. I'll tell you that much. We do. We have a great group of people. We have very smart and intelligent people here. And I'm very proud of these people. And we had birthdays today. Happy birthday to my 3 birthday friends, and Leah's birthday's this week too. So we got lots of birthdays this week, which is kind of cool. No, she will not get D&E from prison. That's definitely true. But I love all your stinking faces. If you want to make a donation to the channel, whether it's now or I'm not here anymore and you're in my replay crew, you can do so on Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. It's right here on the screen. It's also at the bottom of the screen. It scrolls by the entire time. And I love my replay crew, because you guys are the ones that do the heavy lifting when it comes to the video, because when we're no longer live, you guys are the ones leaving comments and pushing it out by YouTube. After you leave those comments, YouTube's like, oh, people are engaging with this. Cool. Like, we're going to push it out to more people. So I appreciate all of you, my replay crew, and all of them. You can see the molds in trial. That's where you'll see the molds in trial. Hopefully we start trial tomorrow. If we don't, we'll still be here. And if it gets pushed to Wednesday, I'll let you guys know best I can, either on our Discord or on X. You can email me at twistedtragedies3@gmail.com, or you can shoot me a message either on X or Facebook or Discord. So I love y'all. I love y'all stinking faces. I will leave you with my outro, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.